Hey, let's start the show.
It's September 13th, 2012. Welcome to This Is Only a Test, the official podcast of Tested.com. I'm Will Smith. Joining me today on this, the greatest of days, Norman Chan.
Yesterday was the greatest of days.
Yesterday, well, we're recording yesterday. Today is tomorrow. And yesterday is today. Also,
Tomorrow.
don't sing that or we have to pay the fee. Also joining us today is our favorite Brad Shoemaker.
I never know what day it is.
It's Wednesday.
That's how I
No,
live.
it's Thursday.
That's how I live my life.
Well, you guys always think Tuesday's Monday and Monday's Friday. And
Live
Friday's
every day like
October.
it's your last, man.
That's no regrets.
Yeah.
You know what, Brad? You only live once.
Get busy living or
You
get
don't have
busy
any
dying.
professional training, but you live with no regrets.
You know what they say, if you're not getting older,
What?
you're dead.
I'm so dead.
What if you're getting younger?
Then you're Benjamin Button.
You're an ungodly demon, Brad Pitt.
Who wouldn't want to be a wrinkly baby?
Wrinkly babies are the best kind of babies.
They
I
all
think.
are wrinkly.
Or they're really tight. Like sometimes they look swollen and puffy.
Fat babies.
Fat babies.
Buddha babies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
With
saw
chubby cheeks.
We saw some real chubby cheeks this weekend.
Yeah?
Gary's baby has chubby cheeks.
Oh, yeah.
Big cheeks.
The baby is growing exponentially.
Yes.
From what I can tell.
If
Cannot be contained
yes.
within her skin.
Soon that baby will consume us all.
If the baby continues growing at the existing rate, she will exceed the mass of Jupiter in about 4 years. So
Is that like the Enterprise computers, like official calculation?
that's what I just made up.
Brad
Just
reverse
then.
polarity.
Extrapolate and enhance.
I hooked the power coupling up to the negative power coupling. So yesterday was iPhone day. We want to talk about that, or we want to talk about Philadelphia? Because you went on a trip,
Yes.
on a vacation. I thought you didn't believe in vacations, Norman Chan.
Apparently, I am forced to take them.
Is this
By the
part
company.
of the new? Okay, not part of the new corporate regime. It's not part of the new
Corporate regime says,
personal regime.
You know, vacation, if you do not take them, they will go away.
Yes, I just assume I'm going to be capped at 120 hours for the rest of my life. It's kind of where I'm.
Yesterday, Apple announced a new iPhone.
That's it for vacation talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So iPhone 5 yesterday morning.
We can talk about it now. It's no longer a rumor.
No, it's on the to talk about list.
But everything was accurate, right?
All the rumors were accurate.
Really?
Except for the NFC rumor.
But
There was
even
no
that,
NFC
but
rumor.
even that, like a month before, they nailed that not being in there.
They meaning the rumor mill.
The rumor mill, yeah.
Yeah.
The internet collective.
Yeah, it was a real boring press conference if you read a bunch of rumors. I haven't read any rumors, so it was super exciting for me. I was like, oh man, there's an extra row of
Will was like,
icons.
Guess what? Guess what, guys? It's staying the same width.
Isn't it your job to read rumors?
Guess what,
Aren't you
guys?
supposed to stay
guess,
abreast
guess
of-
what? Guess what? It's 4 inches. Oh my God. I can't believe it.
It's a big deal,
What
right?
resolution is the screen? It's 1136 by 640 pixels. That's crazy. That's the same pixel density, but one row higher.
Yeah.
I don't read rumors. I'm tired of them. I'm done.
Will says he doesn't
fair.
read rumors.
That's
I
fair.
don't read rumors.
He's listened to them.
I don't listen to them either. Sometimes you say them and I can't help but listen to them.
There you go.
But,
I'm too good for reading rumors. I would like to have someone read them for
no,
me,
no. That's
That-
not what I mean.
is what I mean.
What I mean is you talk about them in the office when Gary's here.
That is a very good excuse.
and I can't help but
that is a
overhear.
very good excuse for saying to technically say that you do not read rumors.
I find that
You know, I put in my browser history just in case, you know, just to give the illusion that I read them, but I don't actually read the pages. No,
I don't read them.
No,
I don't.
They
Go
might
look
be.
at my
They
browser
might
history.
be in my browser history. Maybe.
You see, you
I
think
can't help it. Links need to be purple. Blue links are so boring.
Also, as the one and only person on the internet who was surprised by this announcement, how did you feel about it?
that was okay.
Yeah, just okay.
I mean, here's the thing: bigger screens interesting. I think that keeping the width the same and changing the aspect ratio is an interesting move. Especially given that the kind of arms escalation race in everyone else's phone sizes, where it seems like 4.5 inches is the new normal size for an Android phone or a Windows phone.
When Android phones went up to 4 inches, instead of increasing pixel density, they went up in size so they could reach resolutions like 720p.
And so
And
they can have
having-
battery for
so
LTE modems.
A big, you know, or not even for some phones that had LTE did not have the HD screen, the 800 480 screens. 720 screens, they could technically call it HD because HD was still is a big selling point for a lot of mainstream consumers when shopping for devices with screens. Apple's new phone, they don't use this HD moniker anywhere except FaceTime HD because that records 720p video now. But it is a 16:9 display now on the 4-inch
Almost
iPhone.
16:9.
Very, very close to 16:9 as opposed to the 4:3 that was on the
2x3, 3x2.
3x2, 3x2 that was on the iPad 4x3, iPhone's 3x2 on the iPhone 4 and 4S and iPhone 3G and 3GS. So it was pretty clever the way they did that because you just take the same LCD panels and recut them basically. But the way those panels are bonded to the glass now is different. So it's not the exact same process, and that's partly how they got it thinner.
Well, so the digitizer is directly on the screen now, which is a relatively new enhancement. It should mean we saw this first on phones like the HTC One X, and the upshot is that the image looks like it's coming. It looks like it's way closer. You know how you kind of look into a phone. Sometimes it looks like you're looking down
under glass
into a frame almost. Yeah. It doesn't. That effect is not present in the One X.
And to be fair, it was a big jump from the 3GS to the 4, not just in resolution, but also in moving the LCD screen closer to the glass and having thinner glass. Gorilla Glass 2, which we don't know if that's what's being used in the new iPhone, is thinner, but just as durable as the Corning Gorilla Glass 1.
Well, so they say.
When 4S came out last year, a lot of people said it wasn't a noteworthy update. They kept the body the same. They added Siri or new processor. And there are a lot of stories talking about Apple wanting to keep their phones at 3.5 because it was optimal for the one thumb usage. Hold your phone with one hand, and the radius or the range of where your thumb can hit perfectly fills a 3.5-inch screen for most
For normal size non-monkey thumbs.
Hands and fingers. With a 4-inch screen, I think you could still make that argument.
Yeah. Well, at least on the x-axis.
Yes,
across the phone.
Exactly, and
if not
and
top to
smart
bottom.
UI designers will design their apps so that you don't have too many buttons on the top left or top right screen, whether you're using right or left hand. And so most of the activity, that's why the keyboard stuff and a lot of navigation, Safari, is on the bottom of the screen.
I mean, they did in the press conference. Who was it? Schiller or whoever was up there was making an appeal to one-handed usability, right? Like they straight up said, "This is why."
They kind of validated the Gruber thing from last year. Yeah.
I mean, I have seen it said. What's the current like reigning champ of monster screens? Is it the Galaxy S3? Is that the big one?
Well, the Note is 5.5.
Well, yeah, but that's just
crazy.
out of the realm of sanity.
Yeah, exactly.
But I have seen it said anecdotally that from people who use that device that you do kind of have to resort to a two-thumbed operation mode, which is not necessarily comfortable.
I found that even with the bigger Android phones, the Galaxy.
Hey, it makes it
Nexus
impossible to text while driving or walking.
Well, you can text while walking because
two
you
hands?
can use two hands.
Game Boy it.
Yeah, I'm everybody. Whenever you say this, people always say you're an apologist or a fanboy. But I don't have any problem with the smaller. Like I feel like that screen is big enough. I also have a tablet, so when I need more screen, then I bust out the Nexus 7 or the iPad.
And there was this huge rant written. I think Jesus Diaz at Gizmodo wrote this long post about why 16:9 doesn't make sense, and he wrote this back in January or so about why Apple would never do a 16:9 screen, and you know what? They did. Extra row of icons.
I mean, they need more. I think there is a concern. I think my hunch would be that there's a concern in the marketing department that says, "Hey, if you have a 3-inch screen, everybody else
marketing?
Yeah,
Marketing is what determines product design.
I think this seems like making the screen bigger all of a sudden seems like a marketing concern.
I think it was a compromise between possibly that, but also now that you have an actual taller phone, bigger battery for LTE, keeping that battery life in, and also having a thinner phone.
So here's the thing, though. I did the math on the interior, on the volume, and this isn't interior volume. This is volume of the entire device, which is probably not entirely comparable because my guess is the aluminum back is a lot thinner than the glass back on the 4S.
Is that what it is? It's aluminum?
It's aluminum back.
That kind of textured looking panel?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the top and bottom are glass?
Are gonna be glass.
Either ceramic glass for the white or a different type of glass for the black.
And that's probably like
It's
a
for
concession
EM,
for radio.
It's for radios, yeah.
Okay.
So the iPhone 4S was 63 milliliters of volume. The iPhone 5 is 55 milliliters of volume, assuming a perfect square, not accounting for the rounded corners and stuff like that.
The volume for battery doesn't always. I mean, it's not a straight correlation.
Well,
batteries.
it depends
Having surface area matters a lot for batteries.
That's true.
Because the
But
way electricity flows in a way it's being kept inside the cells.
it's also volume.
No, no, volume
more
definitely.
volume, the bigger the battery. So
More volume, yes, but more surface area. I mean, a spherical battery is not going to be as effective as something with the same volume that's flat.
I did
for a
not know
battery.
that, but I will
mean,
take your word for
Yeah,
it.
I mean, that's why batteries.
I've
that's
never heard this before in my life.
Think about it. That's why when you have lithium polymer batteries, the reason you cannot get them out of one of the reasons that they're built into laptops now is because it can form and have increased surface area. So it's not just a chunk.
No. That's so they can fit more battery into the same size case. So they can use the dead spaces that wouldn't fit a square battery.
Someone should let us know.
I feel like we need to bust out
Yeah.
a compass and a
this is-
protractor right now.
If only we had
Figure this
someone here
out.
to bust some myths.
They've freed up space in some other ways. You know, the connector got smaller, so that should probably take less space on the main board.
Well, and the aluminum's
that.
probably thinner than the glass. I mean, almost certainly thinner than the glass.
Well, the phone itself is thinner.
What I was going to say though is that they've also reduced the process size on the CPU. So it's a 5% process size reduction, which means that it'll.
But it's also a new generation, right?
5% process size.
It's Cortex A. It's A15.
A15.
Well, they're calling it an A6, but what does that mean?
That-
The A6 is Apple's brand name for
Right.
it, but
Yeah.
the license that they use for ARM, the design is based on Cortex A15, which has been in development for a couple of years now.
Right.
Right.
And everything before that was A9.
So that increases capabilities and performance on kind of the same.
The actual
die
die,
size.
the CPU is now 20% small.
27. Yeah, thank you. Sorry, Norm. I was thinking a fifth.
I mean, they were claiming 2x improvement on CPU and GPU function.
You know what relative benchmarks are like.
I know,
2x.
but like compared to what? What are they comparing?
Compared to A5 is what my understanding. of that
In what
is.
though?
Yeah,
Right.
that's what I mean.
Well, I mean, I would
It's not
gotta
clock
assume it's
speed.
A5.
It can't be
on-
2x over a 4S. That seems crazy.
Well, it could be 2x graphics performance if they increase the number of shader cores and stuff like that. I mean, there's a lot of stuff they can do to get a 2x number that are going to be completely invisible to normal users. My hunch would be, I mean, I don't think that there's a whole lot of stuff people use iPhones for that they're going to notice a 2x performance boost.
Sure.
It's not like games are running at 20 frames a second and going to 40 is going to improve things.
I want to be able to not see that hitch when I scroll over from the home screen to the search menu.
Okay,
That hitch has always been there.
that bothers you.
It absolutely bothers me. And you know what? Going from every phone, 3G to 3GS, 3GS to 4, and 4 to 4S, these subtle improvements in UI and web browsing, it might not be something you notice every time, but over time, it adds up.
And then those improvements slowly erode as they upgrade iOS until you can't stand using the device anymore.
That is exactly what happens. Yeah. So let's see. We talked about the screen. I think that the way they're handling the legacy apps is kind of lame. They're going to put black borders on the top and bottom of the screen. I mean, if this is anything like the iPad transition, then what you'll see is people adjusting their apps for the new screen size relatively quickly. They claimed that it was a very fast transition in the keynote today, and that the handful of developers they gave early access to were able to make the transition really quickly. But had they not been a bunch of secretive assholes, then this stuff could have all been posted at WWDC, and all the apps that were being released over the last 6 months could have supported the new resolution.
Well,
So
they
big
got
thing
2
is
weeks.
Games.
Yeah, but I mean, but the point is, it wasn't a secret. Everybody knew.
Yeah.
Every rumor site had it posted. All the Mac sites had it posted.
Yeah, you're right.
Gizmodo and Engadget and The Verge and all those people.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was on all of the sites.
Oh, okay.
The resolution was common. You told me this, Norm.
Okay. Yeah, not that you read it.
Not that
But
I
it
read
was
it.
on all those sites.
Not that I read it.
Yeah.
I just also made an assumption.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, if they had said, hey, developers, here's how you support the new higher resolution, it was already the worst kept secret ever.
They should like put down 5 cards. Here are the 5 potential new resolutions that you can design for. You know, a wider 1280 by 720. Here's a wild card. Wink, wink. 1136 by 640.
Australia.
But we do get black borders, and so on something like an iPad, if you're running an iPhone app, you potentially could see 2 types of borders.
Awesome.
See the reduced 4 by
But you would only see one border on the new iPad because it would fill vertically with the iPhone and then have black bars on the sides.
Yeah, well, on the iPad, you get when you run an iPhone app on an iPad that's not supported, you get a little black border and then just a lot of dead space. In demos, I don't think you see a border at all.
You're not going to see a border.
It's just black space, which
Okay.
is more reason to get the black one.
Anyway, moving on. It's an LTE device. It's a universal modem. It's a world phone. It supports all from GPRS on forward data standards. So GPS, 3G, HSP, HDSPA, HASPCA, whatever the fuck that one is.
Does it have MIMO?
For
the dual
for
antenna?
the antenna, they didn't say.
Does not.
Does not. Okay.
not.
I mean, they're saying
what?
it's that's what on the Wi-Fi side. It supports the 2.4 and 5
Oh, the
gigahertz
5
bands.
okay.
Single antenna. They
but
call it a
yeah.
dynamic antenna. So it will switch whenever it needs to be on
So
Wi-Fi.
all those standards you just rattled off all fall under the umbrella of
Those
LTE.
are cellular. No, those are just
Oh,
cellular
those are
data
legacy?
going back to 1999.
Oh, okay.
probably.
So does it have Edge?
Edge is GPRS. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
No, GPRS predates Edge. Edge is 2G. 3G is what we use
And
now.
some carriers won't even have that. So it's just backward compatibility.
Sure.
For,
Right. Well,
if you're in countries that
and
only have that.
international. Yeah.
But despite being a world phone, it's still probably going to be like carrier locked, right? Like how does that?
Typically, what happens is that you either get a phone that's locked from the factory if they ship it to Verizon or AT&T, or if you go to the Apple Store, when you activate it, then you activate it and it's locked from that point forward.
I don't think
Okay.
when you go to the Apple Store, traditionally, even though it's the same phone like with the 4S, they allocate it factory lock. So they are in stock with AT&T versions, in stock with Verizon versions. So it's not like when they sign you up, they program it in.
But at least at this point, it's all the same piece of hardware now.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
They ship that.
Which was not true in the past.
factory.
No,
But then you can never undo that lock, right?
that's the
No,
thing.
you can
Or
undo a
where
lock.
you have to pay.
No, you can't unlock the carrier. You can unlock the phone. You can't switch from a 3G to a CDMA phone once it's been locked on the iPhone 4. At least I'm not aware of a way to do that. You can make your AT&T phone work on T-Mobile
Yes.
if you pay AT&T, but you can't make your AT&T phone work on Verizon or Sprint.
Correct. Because
This is my
that
understanding.
is why at the factory that is locked. When they when they put it in
And
the
that's not
packages.
likely to change,
I
right?
would be shocked if that changed.
Okay.
Yeah. Even though the Verizon ones will still come with SIM card slots.
But that's so you can
for
use it
international
internationally.
travel.
Yeah. So you can get it unlocked for Verizon. Say I'm going to Europe and get an orange SIM card to jam in the phone when you go.
Wow.
To,
They didn't
go
mention
to
having the
Europe.
new Nano SIM, or whatever it's called. But
I don't think people care about SIM card size.
I totally care about SIM card size.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, for people who want to use a T-Mobile, they have to have T-Mobile has to have the new SIM card size in order to if they want to, use iPhone and T-Mobile.
Fair enough. Let's talk about the Wi-Fi stuff for a minute because I think that let's see, Amazon talked about the MIMO having dual antennas on the Fire last week. We didn't get to talk about the Fire last week because we recorded on Wednesday last week too. But the MIMO antenna having high-speed Wi-Fi on phones and tablets is, I think, pretty dumb. Because the gating factor isn't your Wi-Fi connection. The limiting factor on performance on tablets isn't the Wi-Fi connection. It's the connection between your home network and the real world.
ISP.
Yeah, so the gate is still your 20 megabit Comcast connection or your 6 megabit DSL connection, not the dual antenna Wi-Fi. It's really disingenuous to imply that the Kindle Fire is suddenly going to have much better network performance because it has a slightly more expensive Wi-Fi configuration. And I mean,
Even between network devices?
but the Fire is not a device that's designed to stream between network
Oh no,
devices.
Fire is not. Obviously not.
I mean, if
No,
you're
but-
using
but if
Air
you're talking
Video
about, like-
inside your
yes.
house, that's kind of the only, or maybe like an AirPlay stream or something like that. That's really the only use
AirDrop
case.
or something.
Or AirDrop, but
Yeah.
I mean, iOS doesn't support
Right.
AirDrop. AirDrop is a good use case because then you use one antenna for the computer to computer connection, one antenna to connect to the network, and times share that stuff. But it's not something that normally a tablet is going to encounter a problem with. at
Not
all.
for browsing the web.
Not for browsing the web, not even for media sharing inside the house, because the connections are all way under 150 megabits. I mean, if you have a 2-hour DVD or Blu-ray that you ripped, it's going to be 3,500 kilobits a second, or 3.5 megabits a second instead of 25 or 50 megabits a second. I mean, that's crazy. They're claiming battery life improvements. We talked about this a little bit already, I guess. They're saying 8 hours on LTE web browsing, which seems bananas to me.
So when they say something like that, does that mean 8 hours of it sitting there transferring data?
I have to assume that means 8 hours of you browsing the web
Right.
on LTE.
Screen on.
Screen on,
on.
but
Data-
not
data
necessarily data
moving.
moving all 8 hours,
Well,
but
okay.
browsing the web.
So you
So
load
normal
a page,
usage.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
read, You load another
Okay.
page, you read.
Sure.
We'll do a live stream of that. I'll sit and browse the
Okay.
web all day
Yeah.
and for 8 glorious
Can,
hours.
can you browse the web for 8 hours
I would-
nonstop?
I don't think so.
There's not 8 hours of content on the web. No way.
You really? I think there's at least 6.5 easy.
It's pushing it.
But I think that means a mixture of like video watching and reading.
Yeah, I'm
and
sure they have some
listening to music.
fuzzy math going on there to determine how that stuff.
I mean,
All I care about is how it compares to the last phone in my usage.
Well, they said they gave a number on that, didn't they say like 20% higher? Or did I dream that up?
maybe I don't know.
I don't think so.
Or they just said more.
I I have to say, people give them a lot of grief, but when we did battery tests on the first 2 iPads, they both dramatically exceeded their kind of, hey, here's how long this is going to last. I mean, I think the first one went for 16 or 17 hours playing standard def video the entire time, and the second one lasted about the same, doing a mixture of standard def and high def video. So it's I mean,
And the iPad 3 was very impressive.
but yeah, I don't think we ever actually ran it, but all the way down. But
Yeah, it's still.
I don't think I get 8 hours of LTE on the iPad 3 though.
I do.
If you're actually using it.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, absolutely.
Um,
And a lot of it is standby management too. I mean,
that's true.
more important to me is how slowly or how fast the battery is draining when I just have it in my pocket. I still would like on iPads you can turn off LTE even though you turn on network connection. I want that option in iOS 6 on the new iPhone. They probably won't give me the ability to switch from LTE to 3G or Edge.
I gotta think they have to give you the ability to turn LTE off, given the amount of
Oh, no, yeah.
the
The
number of
amount of data.
areas that there aren't LTE services available, including
Well, no,
all of
but
Europe.
the argument they would make is that they would the software is smart enough to detect and just not search for LTE. Or
But think about it this way: if you don't have LTE service and you're not in an area that's served by LTE,
Mm-hmm.
even if it turns on once a day or once every hour to check for LTE coverage, which is going to turn on a lot more frequently.
oh no, that's
that
why
has to impact
that's why
battery.
that's
There
there
has to be a
on-
switch.
That's the switch is there on the iPad.
Yeah,
I want the switch to be there on the iPhone.
There'll be
and
a switch on
I also
the
want
iPhone.
a 3G switch like there was.
there won't
on-
be a 3G
and
switch.
there won't be a 3G switch.
No.
Because that is one of those last resort mechanisms I can use to stretch battery life on a trip.
Yeah, turn off Bluetooth, Norm.
That's always.
Well, but I mean, those chipsets continually get smaller and less power hungry, right? So maybe 3G use now isn't the same battery drain it was before.
I would, and it's also more ubiquitous. One of the things that I've always found is that the battery life gets much worse when you're in an area with sporadic coverage. So if you're in a sporadic
absolutely.
4G area, it's
Yeah.
going to be way worse
Yep.
than if you're in a constant 4G area and using it all.
My
the time.
parents on the rural East Coast to this day have basically zero AT&T signal in
Yeah.
their house, and when I go there, my phone lasts like 4 to 6 hours from full charge to absolutely like bone dry.
Yeah,
because it's constantly searching for a network that it can't find.
I have the exact same experience in Northeast Tennessee. It sounds like a herd of elephants are out there doing something. I don't know what's going on, but maybe they could be a little
that's the
quieter.
check.
Oh, it's the checks?
Yeah.
Okay. We have engineers in the office today, so it's not the usual peaceful, quiet afternoon. The main camera, they made some enhancements to it. It didn't seem particularly exciting to me.
8 megapixels.
It was 8 megapixels on the
8.
4S.
Oh, really?
This is 8 megapixels too.
Yeah, that was one of the big selling points of the 4S, Siri and new camera. The new camera with software does have their panoramic feature. So panorama,
Yeah.
built-in software. You just move your phone around, it'll
That's-
do some calculations.
I saw 'em-
output
I
a
s-
28 megapixel
Yeah,
picture.
yeah. I really saw him talking up the low light performance. I was wondering if that's a response to the Lumia stuff.
I mean, it's not a response
Yeah.
because the hardware's been in development. iPhone 4S with the HDR on and 4 with HDR on has always been okay with low light. It was much better than the Nokia 800 or 900 and Lumia 900. And they didn't show any low light photos in the demo. They showed a lot of bright daytime photos,
Yeah.
flowers, laughing children,
Bees.
all sorts of stuff.
I mean, I found the backlit sensor on the iPhone has been pretty good at low light.
I
for
care
a fairly long time.
less and less about the cameras on phones.
Well, it's because you have a real camera now.
Yeah,
People should get real cameras.
Yeah, you're an edge case on that one. I'm sorry.
I bought a real camera.
Get a real
Yeah,
camera.
but
It's pretty.
you are
good.
not speaking to the masses on this one.
How valuable are your memories to you?
I don't. Not that valuable.
Fair enough. I think any improvement to the camera is going to be good. I think people who are really serious about taking pictures, it's always going to be inadequate.
Sure.
Right. I mean, that's just the way it is. They
That's a given. But
they're using a more sturdy material.
you're just hanging out with people in a bar and you want to,
Yeah.
take pictures.
Drunk
of some
pictures
guy
of assholes.
making a funny face or something.
Yeah,
Whatever.
You should take out your Sony
Whatever.
Sony mirrorless and line up the shot, get the aperture set
Perfect.
correctly.
Hold that
and-
face.
Yeah,
Make
just
it funnier.
wait for it, and we're done. What else are we talking about here?
Well, there's the other camera. There's the FaceTime.
Yeah, the FaceTime. It's a front-facing 720p camera. I think it's the same one that's on, or a similar one to the one that's on the new MacBooks. It still looks like kind of shitty video conferencing when I use the one on the new MacBook. So I mean, maybe it'll be good. I don't know. Whatever. I don't feel like higher resolution video conferencing is. I mean, I guess
Well,
that's good.
now it has
Yay.
the backlight illumination, and the front camera on the 4 and 4S was crap, and the photos you take on that were crap. The back camera still takes 1080p video, and you can now capture stills while you're taking video. They didn't say
that's
whether
nice.
the stills are just 1080p stills or whether it's full resolution stills. My
I would bet
guess
that-
is the former, and
think-
not full resolution stills.
You think they still won't give you the option to do 720p video?
I bet there'll
bet
be.
I bet there's no option.
Yeah, no, they want to sell more memory in phones.
Ah.
I bet that the
Well, use a third-party app.
yeah,
You don't record video with the camera app.
use
Oh.
Camera Awesome or something
Oh,
like that.
okay.
Yeah, there are plenty of
I
video
haven't,
apps. That
I
let you
haven't been
record
on
in
an iPhone in
720.
a while. I didn't know about
and
that.
you can record at 720 and you can record at different frame rates.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Cool.
I think that I bet you can. I bet you can take high resolution pictures at while the video is running.
Well,
That's my guess.
That's something I'd like to test.
Yeah. New connector. This is before we go on, microphones. There were two microphones. There was one on the front face, one on the bottom. Speakerphone, FaceTime, holding up to your ear, I guess. Now there's one on the front as well. So when you're taking
The back.
The real camera side. So when you're FaceTiming for someone, when you're holding up the camera for your wife to talk to your parents or something, then that works.
So,
Or just taking video in general.
Yeah,
that
taking
would
video, I
help.
guess.
and
as
that,
well.
that microphone is slotted right between the camera sensor and the flash.
Okay. New connector. I don't know how I feel about a new connector.
It's called Lightning.
I think that's a dumb
I
name.
know how I feel about that. It's dumb.
I like that it's I think 8 pins, right? And it's ambidextrous,
pins.
so you can
Yep.
plug it in either way.
Yep.
I love that. That
That's
makes me
awesome.
real happy.
That's awesome. I'm sad though that they stopped short of making it MagSafe.
I don't care about MagSafe.
Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they do that?
Because you kind of want. Because sometimes you're in a position where you want the phone to be held by the connector.
Well, do you
Like,
think
you
it even fits snugly enough in there for
It looks
that
like
to
it
happen?
goes in pretty far. I mean,
Yeah.
it looks like it goes
Well,
in
think
about
about
to there.
Think
so.
about what MagSafe was originally invented for. It was for heavier laptops.
Yeah,
so
sure.
when people trip the cord,
Yeah.
you don't drag the laptop. The
Fair.
phone is so light, you trip the cord, it's gonna pop off. It's gonna drag the phone anyway.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah, and you think about it like using it in a car dock or on a bedroom dock or something like that. The only thing that's holding it in place is the connector.
Yeah.
Most of the time, so it's not a bad thing to have. Like I understand why people are saying that about the MagSafe, but it's one of those things that people don't think about.
And
I
the
think.
fact that there are no teeth on the side now, where you can pull the connector out without having to squeeze the side,
Or without breaking something.
Exactly.
Well, the connectors haven't had that in a long time. The ones that they sell.
you still have to. I mean, you don't have to push in
No.
the sides, but
It
that's
snaps.
why it goes in one way.
Yeah.
There are still some teeth.
So there's.
So what's not to like about it?
I don't want to have to
still-
replace all the existing cables. They're $20 each. I have a shitload
$30.
of them. I mean,
$30 and $40.
Whatever.
for the
You'll
adapters.
continue to buy Apple products and accrue a whole new collection.
I've had a dozen iPods over the last 10 years.
Well, I
have
mean
a shitload of
that's
those
kind of the
cables.
point, though. It's a 10-year-old standard, you know. I mean, like how much longer do they have to wait before they can change it?
It doesn't do
In
anything
your
I don't
estimation.
need it to do.
The bigger,
maybe they
the
need
bigger
it to do
issue
other
is
things.
that if
I
they're
care
going to
about
change
me,
it to something
Brad.
smaller and more efficient,
Yeah.
size wise, why not just use micro USB? Make everyone happy.
That I don't have. a good
That's
answer for.
crazy talk. Because you can't do analog out on micro USB. That's why.
You can't do audio.
You can't do
Well, that's right.
audio-
This thing
analog audio out.
passes more signal, right? Than that will.
It'll pass video. Well, theoretically, it'll pass video. I bet that they don't do that. The 30-pin dock connector will pass HD video using the appropriate adapter. I bet that this one doesn't do that anymore. I bet that it does do analog audio because there's a lot of car docks and nobody likes having to do a non-line level out. I haven't looked at this
Well,
specific.
the audio is also the audio port's on the bottom now too.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I mean, that was my favorite part of the iPod Touch when I first, because I didn't see an iPod Touch, I think, until we launched tested probably. And when I realized that they put the headphone connector on the downside, so you can just reach into your pocket and pull it out, and it's the right orientation. Really excited. It's a really dumb thing, but that's nice.
Yeah.
A lot of Android phones do that too. So
Well, it's
a-
the right
it's a good thing.
orientation because of the home button.
Yeah.
Like unlike on the iPad, it can be any side can be up because it'll rotate fully.
Yeah.
iPhone doesn't do that.
Right. So yeah, the cables are $20 each. The converters,
$30.
no, the converters. A USB to Lightning cable is $20.
Okay.
The converter to convert your old dock adapter to a Lightning
So you
adapter.
can still keep your USB wall wart.
Yeah.
You just gotta buy a new cable that has a Lightning adapter at the end.
Yes.
That's $20. Adapter
For Lightning to 30-pin dock is $30, which is
or
horseshit.
$40.
Or $40.
Yeah.
Why is it a different price?
There's one that's a cable to cable,
Oh, and one
and
that's
then
just a
one
stump.
that's just a stump.
So the only reason you would buy that is if you spent a lot of money on iPod docks, right?
I don't even know if it's gonna fit because a lot of my iPod docks, the 30-pin connector,
It's like real specific placement.
it's slotted perfectly and needs to be flush.
Yeah.
It doesn't have room for like a 1 inch or 0.75 inch adapter.
So you plug the cable in, you leave the iPod sitting on the table.
Yeah.
That's gonna look real janky.
Yep.
So yeah, I hope you didn't just buy a $600 B&W dock.
Yeah.
Oops.
New accessories.
That's what I don't like about the new dock connectors because it doesn't seem necessary and it seems like an opportunity to sell new accessories.
It's understandable, but
I
don't
mean,
stand in the way of progress, man.
change is so scary. The no NFC rumor mill apparently said that. I didn't realize that was a thing people had said. That really bums me out because it seems like the passbook stuff that's coming in iOS it would go perfectly with NFC. And as I was driving, like as I was putting gas in my car 4 days ago, I pulled up to a gas pump. I was like, that is a fucking skimmer on that gas pump. And
Wait,
yeah.
you know what they look like?
Well, you just have to kind of you look.
Did you hear about my car getting stolen at PAX?
No.
What?
Yeah. Not to derail here,
No,
So-
please.
but
What?
dude,
What
let's
happened?
derail.
So I pulled up to the gas pump and I was like, I come here all the time. I was like, oh, look, they got new pumps. I was like, wait, no, they didn't.
Did you take a picture?
This isn't. No, I didn't take. I didn't.
What-
take
Did
a
you
what?
tell them?
Yeah, of course I told them.
Why didn't you take a
I
picture?
didn't think about it. I was in a
Really?
hurry.
If I see something as rare as a skimmer,
It's not that rare,
oh,
apparently.
No,
you know what?
apparently not.
Find
Yeah.
me another one because I would like to take a picture.
Well, Brad's found them. It seems.
I don't
what
know.
happened? Tell me what happened.
I didn't go back to the scene of the crime to verify. I was too emotionally fragile at that point.
Was this part of the can't find an Uber app situation as well?
Apparently, there's a mobile app, the mobile site that you can.
There is a
use.
mobile site.
So wait, what happened at PAX?
So, long story short, we have corporate travel cards, corporate Amexes that we use.
Ooh,
It's
la-ti-da.
It's dumb. I would rather use my personal card, except in this case,
Points.
where I'm very glad I didn't because I hadn't used the card since E3, so it was like 3 months
Yeah.
that it had not been active. And I go to a drugstore the night we get into Seattle and just buy like $10 worth of bottled water and stuff.
Yeah.
And the next day,
Hip
about
flask of
about-
whiskey.
yes, of course,
Yeah, okay.
don't leave home without it.
Yeah.
The next day around lunchtime, like around midday, I start getting these 800 number calls, which I summarily ignore. But then I
Yeah,
check
of
my
course.
email later, and an Amex has emailed me frantically going, fraudulent charges posted to your account, call us immediately.
Wow. So you got skimmed at the 7-Eleven?
It was a drugstore.
Okay.
It was
So it
I
might not be
apologize.
skimming.
Bartels. I think it's like a Washington chain.
It could have been,
but-
not a. Did you pay at a cash register?
Yeah, it was it was a register with a self swipe little machine. So that was the only charge I made on that card in like 3 months, and then the very next day, all these charges in Los Angeles started popping
It
up.
could have been unscrupulous employees.
It's possible, but they would have had to pull it off the receipt or whatever, or
Scarier to
whatever
see
records.
those
I don't know.
at an ATM, but I mean, gas station would be the easiest because people really don't care.
Yeah,
Sure.
gas station
And they're
you don't look
outside.
at, and they look
They're-
real hoopty, and there's nobody there. At
Send
3
us
o'clock in the
photos
morning.
of skimmers you've seen in
so
your
this
area.
was so this was
I
inside
wanna see what they look like.
inside a drugstore at like a row of like 8 cash registers, each with its own little card
It's
swipe.
like
thing.
like the stand thing.
So that's what
Self-checkout.
Jeff was the one who told me this is probably what happened because he said that they get
Yeah.
installed on those things all the time. It's not totally self-checkout.
How-
There is a
how big,
cashier behind a cash register. It's just that the card mechanism is separate from the cash register
Right.
and
Yeah,
more
it's like at every
facing the
Safeway.
customer. Yeah, exactly.
Inside job.
That was the other thought. It was it could have been somebody in the
How
store.
big? How big
Saw
are the
that movie.
skimmers?
I don't know. So I don't know what they look like.
So
That's the thing.
The thing on mine at the gas station just looked like basically it just looked different than it normally does. Like if I didn't buy gas there all
Wait,
the
so,
time.
okay. At a grocery store, when you swipe your credit card, those machines they have the numpad, and usually it's on the right, and you slide down.
Yeah.
Mm.
At the gas station, at least the ones I go to, it's not the slide down; it's to push the
the
card
insert.
in. Yeah, so it's got to be two different skimming technologies.
Well, the insert one is just like another thing that clips on over the top of the mouth hole for the credit card, and it like if you don't know what it normally looks like, it looks just like a kind of chunky credit card reader. So it doesn't
extra
like,
hump of plastic.
it doesn't prevent you from making your purchase. It reads the card as you put it in and
sure.
out. and then some dude comes by and picks it up and takes the thing off
How
the
long,
machine.
how long do you
would
think
bet-
how long do you think things like that sit on those machines?
I mean, I would think a couple of days at the
Yeah.
outside.
And you know what?
right?
I would bet they're easier to make now that like you have the square readers, that the magnetic strip
Oh, dude, you
readers.
can buy magnetic strip readers for $30 on
Yeah.
eBay. It's no
Those
problem.
These are free.
Yeah, but well, okay, yes.
Man, the future's scary.
Well, this is why NFC is a good thing,
terrifying.
is because it's kind of like there's some
Well, then
scary
it's-
security stuff.
Well,
but it's also encrypted at least.
well, that's
so,
good. I mean, this went even beyond just getting a hold of the number because a lot of the places that the card was being used would require you to have a physical credit card.
yeah. So they made a new card.
So
That's
you
easy.
can just make a dummy card with,
Yeah.
with information
Or
like that.
the ones at
Man.
the ATMs, they have both the skimmer and also a small camera mounted somewhere, so they see you typing your PIN number.
Yeah.
Gross.
PIN
'Cause
number.
Wow.
They need the PIN plus the
Holy
number
shit.
Yeah.
the card
Oh
to
my
get cash.
god, this is awful.
There's a blog. There's a great blog that talks about skimmers, and like he collects pictures of skimmers. I can't remember what it's called. If you just search for ATM skimmer pictures, then it's like the first result, and it's awesome.
You choose your Google terms judiciously, so it doesn't look like you are finding for ways.
Don't
to
end up on
make-
some watch list.
Yeah.
Is this an ATM skimmer?
how to?
You don't put how to. It's also the reason that like Bank of America and the big banks have spent a ton of money redesigning ATMs. The new and when you get money from like an ATM at Bank of America now, it shows you a picture of the slot. And it's not,
Wow.
they don't say, hey, make sure it looks like this, but it's just kind of there to reinforce you. This is what it's supposed to look like. And it's all weird shaped plastic. It lights up. And
Yeah,
all
Wells
that kind of
Fargo
stuff.
hasn't started showing you like this is what it should look like, but it's very clearly it's like this weird kind of like mound shape, and it's made out of like translucent green with a light shining
Yeah,
through there, and there's a little security lock picture on it and stuff.
Exactly.
And a lot of places have ATMs inside the bank, so
Yeah.
you need to go through a door securely. But you know what? The way you get inside is to put your credit card
Yeah.
in the little
your
door
ATM
check,
into the door slot.
right? And you know what? All someone needs to do is have a really nice camera that can it's high def and can read in the dark. Just
Yeah.
look at that and just record video all night long.
Well, or I mean, you put the skimmer on the door lock.
Or you put
at
the
that
skimmer-
point.
Well,
Right?
door locks aren't very big.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
It
I
is
felt
terrifying.
violated.
It's nothing.
Don't use debit cards.
I didn't, and I
Okay.
don't
Yeah.
ever for that stuff.
Oh, see, I use my check card all the time, but I also don't ever put money in that account.
Well,
So
credit card is easy to get those
No, I
charges
know.
dismissed, and you
That's
just
true.
get a new card.
puts the burden
Pull
on the
money
debtor.
out directly out of your account. You were in much.
Yeah, but like
dire
I said, I
straits.
only have my spending money account hooked up to the check card, so it's like
Money is
Um,
terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should just go to barter. I think I'll bring a.
You know what's
some
even more terrifying?
6 eggs.
Stocks.
Why stocks? Like
The stock exchange.
oh,
Yeah.
And computerized stock
Oh, yeah,
exchanges
sure.
and algorithms making trades at 5 decimal points.
What was the company that was basically ruined a few weeks ago by some kind of trading error? You know what I'm talking about.
yeah, I remember seeing the story, but I kind of just ignore that shit at this point.
Mere mortals will never.
Yeah, we don't
Brush up
we
against-
can't trade in
That-
that
I mean,
level.
like those computerized stock exchanges, I guess those people who run those are quants. They have conferences about spending hundreds of millions of dollars so that they can have more efficient trades, so they can access those exchanges
Yeah.
in Chicago, New York, at 4 milliseconds faster than
No,
competitors.
4/10 of a millisecond. Right.
Four
Like,
milliseconds.
they spent,
or, yeah.
They spent hundreds of millions of dollars running fiber direct from one place to another to cut
No,
fractions
there's a
of
company,
a millisecond off of
'cause
the trade times.
Fiber is you would think fiber is the fastest way you get a connection between banks. Like in Batman, cut the fiber, cut the cell towers, so Bane can't make that transaction, right? But the fiber's already laid.
Spoilers.
Still haven't seen it.
Oh my god! So there was a company who bought up land between Chicago and New York so that the fiber line that they could build would not have to dip toward Philadelphia.
Wow.
So it can go. So you save like.
So
you
you're
know,
saying fuck Philadelphia.
So the line could go straight from Chicago to New York, and it would be like maybe 4 miles longer than the direct line, what a direct piece of string from Chicago to New York would be. And so you would get on that connection round trip latency about 4 milliseconds faster than the other line.
Uh-huh.
And then another company decided to build towers between Chicago and New York, 200-foot towers,
Microwave?
and have microwave transmission because light or data,
Yeah.
waves going through air
Yeah.
is faster than
Fast.
through fiber cable.
Sure.
So you get, instead of a 14 millisecond connection, a 9 millisecond round trip.
Man.
But unpredictable based on the weather.
Yeah. It's true.
These are the real problems that face our nation
Yeah.
today.
And then you know what some people are going to do? They're going to build drones to hover between and relay.
I like the good old days when you bought stocks by sending a runner down to the floor of the stock exchange with a piece of paper, and it said buy 500 shares of General Electric or National Biscuit Company, and then the boy on the floor would buy the shares, and you would get your pieces of paper. All this electronics trading nonsense.
Just another of the many ways that technology is corrupting society.
We're all fucked.
Now, where
Now-
were we
now-
with
now-
our
now,
with our shiny
hey,
consumer devices?
When can I buy this phone?
It's available in white and black. Pre-order this Friday.
They're all
in stores
technically-
next Friday.
The phones are now technically two colors. White is silver, white and silver.
Yeah.
So design aesthetically, it is different from the iPhone 4 and 4S. If you look at the 4, what Steve Jobs said was very Leica-esque. You have a glass front, glass back, and it was launched as black, right? And the silver band around it, metal
Yeah,
band.
it's making a phone out of glass is still really fucking dumb.
Well, they're still making out of glass, and they said the glass is stronger. The new phones, they're taller, of course, because of the bigger screen and the bigger battery.
Look at your stumpy little iPhone, Chan.
The back now has aluminum, and on the white phone it is white and a silver aluminum, and on the black phone it is black plus
Oh, this is
a
my favorite part.
slate-like aluminum.
This is
on
my
the
favorite
back.
part. That
So it's
black
a
phone
matte-
is all black.
all black, and also the ring, the metal band around that. There's still a metal band. The metal band is now colored.
Is
so
it
it's
is it
either-
anodized? I guess.
I guess it must be.
Dude, it looks so awesome.
black
It looks like
one?
Darth
It
Vader's
looks
phone.
so awesome.
And my favorite part is that the band, like if you look at the iPhone 4 or 4S, the band it looks like a band wrapped around something. The new phone, it has no wraparound effect. There is a 45-degree bezel,
Chamfer.
a chamfer. That's word of the day. Chamfer.
Great.
Chamfer.
It's like crown molding for
All
your
right.
phone.
Okay,
Wow.
I'll remember that.
Norm, explain what crown molding is.
It's
Explain crown molding.
when you look at the corner of a ceiling, where the ceiling meets the wall.
Yeah.
Most buildings and empty rooms, it is a direct cutoff edge. Right, it goes
Yeah.
45-degree angle, ceiling to wall.
Uh-huh.
Crown molding is when you buy a piece of wood.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
is angled to add some molding.
It's like a baseboard for the ceiling.
It is a ceiling
it's-
baseboard.
Okay.
It's decoration for the corner
All right.
of your rooms to make it
and-
seem less sparse.
Minimum ceiling height for crown molding,
10 feet?
12 feet.
No, 10.
You can do it in a 10-foot ceiling, but it makes the room look real small.
I choose big crown molding, high ceilings.
Yes, big crown molding and high ceilings is the way the 1% live.
So now Apple is applying decades of interior design to their phones.
Yeah, crown molding
It's,
for your
it's
phone.
the intersection of
Chamfer.
science and the humanities, just like Steve Jobs.
Oh God, don't say that.
I'm going to leave now.
iOS 6 stuff.
I have a house in that corner.
Pre-order this Friday, in stores next Friday. There is a 1632 gig version, white and black. Verizon, AT&T, Sprint in the U.S.
No T-Mobile.
Normal characters apply. I think it's following in internationals, in a large number of internationals the following week, and then more, I think, 2 weeks after that. But I stopped paying attention by then, I'll be honest.
I'm sorry, not to roll back too
Yeah,
much, but
hi.
but you were going to talk about the NFC stuff and paying and passbook.
Yeah.
Is it really a big deal
Let's
that's
talk about
not in there?
iOS 6 stuff, because
Okay,
Passbook
but-
comes to everybody who has iOS 6.
Okay.
So in terms of phone options now, 3GS looks like it's no longer available in the U.S. iPhone 4 is now.
It's amazing that
The-
they were still selling 3GSs.
And I
Well, it
think
was
they
the
still
free
will
phone.
sell.
I understand, but
now iPhone
damn.
4 is now the free phone,
Yeah.
and you would think they would make the iPhone 4 the free phone just to get people up to the Retina last year. I think 3GS is still going to be sold for free off contract or a very cheap contract or something in the emerging markets because they're still making that display. That display is what people say. I'm going to read some rumors about the new iPad Mini, that same iPhone 3GS display. iPhone 4 is free on contract in
Gotta
US.
sneak rumors in, don't you, Chan?
4S, well, you don't read them. So got to keep you informed somehow. 4S is going to be $99 on contract, 2-year contract, and the base price, 16 gig for the 5 is going to be $199.
Same as always.
So you do have 3 carrier options in the US. And if you are mid-contract right now, the carriers will charge you, an extra $250.
AT&T is not doing that.
They
I
are
just,
No, they are.
Are you sure? I just read right before I came over here that
I
they're
sent
not
the text.
not offering early upgrade.
I sent if you send
On the
on
5.
AT&T.
I'm going to tell you right now.
I don't know.
I sent the number. It is, I don't remember what the number is. You tell them, Norm.
Star 369 pound.
A full discount on a standard device or iPhone upgrade is not available at this time, but you may qualify on 5/8/2013. We can offer you a discounted iPhone upgrade at 2-year commitment pricing plus $250 along with a new 2-year commitment and a $36 upgrade fee.
They increased upgrade fee from $18 to $36.
I'm going to explain to you what that means for me. I am not going to have an AT&T iPhone this go round.
Whoa.
I'm
All right.
switching to Verizon.
I don't know if we're done
Confirmed?
running down the features yet
Fuck
or not.
those
But
guys.
all right.
Wow.
That's my question.
Wow.
What carrier do I
So,
go with?
Wait,
here?
wait. Really?
I ran the numbers. Before
my
we did the
goodness.
podcast, I ran the numbers. I can get 8 gigs of data on a shared plan with Gina's phone and my phone on Verizon for exactly what I'm paying right now on AT&T for 3 gigs of data each, and on a bullshit unlimited plan, and no unlimited data,
So,
and no unlimited phone,
Let's
and no
be clear.
unlimited text.
Let's be clear. There are a lot of different pricing scenarios for
Oh
everyone.
god, it's a nightmare.
Too many. I mean, everyone's in a different position.
Yeah.
Apple has a website with charts and options. Does not apply to everyone because some people have grandfather plans. Some people have different pricing plans that are no longer available. We are on AT&T right now.
Unlimited.
Unlimited
Data?
'Cause,
Yeah.
yeah, unlimited data. Are 3 of us all on the same?
So you're
plan?
I am,
paying
yeah.
$30 a month for 3 gigs of data, basically.
Well, we're
It is
paying
theoretically
They
unlimited.
call it unlimited.
Yes, they call
But-
unlimited, but right now it's 3 gigs of 3G. If you pass 3 gigs, they will throttle you like hell.
Yeah, so you end up with basically like a 1997.
What text plan are you on?
Oh man, I think it's one that doesn't exist anymore.
Exactly.
I want to say
The
it's
$5
So,
If it's
so I
anything-
I saw that
if it's
before.
anything but unlimited,
Yeah.
it does not exist.
Yeah. So I just came to realize that's my latest fuck AT&T moment. Right before I came over here, I was looking at that. It's either you pay nothing and you pay 20 cents
But
for
these are
every
for
text
new.
message.
These
or,
are for the new
right,
plans.
or it's $20 for unlimited. Nothing in between.
So here's the grandfather rule: if you're on AT&T, if you stuck with AT&T all through,
Like
the first iPhone, and I guess after 3G is when they got rid of the unlimited plans. If you stuck with AT&T,
after 3GS.
3GS.
Rid of unlimited plans.
if you stuck with them, you have unlimited, and you have like a cheap,
I think
texting
I've
plan,
got 10
$5
bucks for 1,000 or something like that.
something, or $15,
Yeah.
not $20
Yeah.
for unlimited. Basically, save that $5. You can keep those plans. Your unlimited still is quote unquote unlimited. On LTE, the cap is 5 gigs. After 5 gigs,
Instead
you're
of
throttled.
3.
So they will let you keep the fake unlimited and your non-existent text plan.
You know what it boiled down to for me? I'm going to go ahead and explain this in really simple terms.
But you do not get FaceTime over 4G.
And you
or
don't- and you
FaceTime over
can't
cellular,
tether.
period.
Just because they say you can't?
Yes.
Well, does
Because-
Verizon let you tether?
Yes.
Verizon,
If you're on a shared data plan, you can tether.
Wait,
So if you're on a family plan, you can tether.
that's the only way?
I don't know. Maybe it's
Man.
really confusing. I didn't look at single plans yet. I mean, we'll do a story about it later, but for the time being, the thing that it boils down to for me is that I go to trade shows 4 or 5 times a year. Whenever I'm in a group of thousands of other nerds, AT&T doesn't work.
You're right.
But when I flip on the MiFi, I have instant fucking internet, and the
Yeah.
MiFi is Verizon.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, Verizon wins.
Yeah, you're totally right. I had no phone for PAX. I literally did not have a phone at PAX.
It doesn't work at PAX. It doesn't
Yeah.
work at E3. It doesn't
Yeah.
work at CES.
Yeah.
I bet it's not going to work at this thing that I'm going to this weekend that has 400 fucking people.
are you
coming
getting
to
rid
it.
of your Verizon iPad plan?
I'm probably going to since I can do shared data plans. Since Gina and I will do a shared plan because there's 2 of us, it makes sense.
Wait, is it family or mobile share?
It's the
Verizon
share.
only has mobile share now.
I think they have another plan, a singleton plan, but essentially what I'm paying is $90 for 9 gigs of data or 8 gigs of data, plus 2 $40 connection fees for the iPhones, which give you unlimited voice and data, which is a fucking ripoff, just to be clear. And then probably $10 each for each iPad, and it will end up costing exactly what 3 gigs plus 3 gigs plus 500 minutes of phone plus 500 texts a month costs on AT&T right now.
But you're right. The pricing plans are insulting, but it's the horrible service that's unacceptable. with
Yeah,
them.
it's like if I didn't go to trade shows, it wouldn't be a big deal.
But
'cause
even
it works
it's not
pretty well.
it's not just trade shows. Like I said, when I go and see my parents, like I don't have a phone there either. Like it's just like
So
Well, you're
I,
talking about you have you can't make phone calls.
There's no
edge,
service.
no edge, no phone signal. I can't send a text message. I can't do anything.
right.
Thanks,
so,
AT&T.
so that changed for me in the last 3 years going to my parents because our parents live kind of near
Pretty
each
close,
other.
yeah.
And in the last 2 or 3 years, they've added towers out in the country where my parents live. So, I can use the internet.
I've been on AT&T for over 4 years, and it's never changed there.
Yeah, no, it's well, if you depends on how far out you live. You're in Asheville or Raleigh or
Close to Asheville.
okay.
My house is in a Verizon dead zone, and I get texts twice a year about new AT&T cell towers, so I'm sticking with AT&T. Plus, I think the 5 gigs LTE. When I remember going
Plus,
from
Norm can use my Verizon iPhone when we're at CES or E3 or something, and his phone won't work.
exactly, and I have Verizon data on my iPad, so I'm okay with that, and tethering.
There we go.
Verizon charges $15 per extra gigabyte use. AT&T charges $10 per extra gigabyte.
That's a little bit of a
So,
rip-off.
so you know,
Other things worth mentioning is if you have one of the few people that has an unlimited data plan on Verizon now, which basically means you bought an iPhone 4 for the first 6 months it was available on Verizon. They're not letting people grandfather in and get upgrade pricing. You have to pay full retail price for the phone if you want to keep on your unlimited plan, which is also fucking.
I would like
like
to.
all of these companies are bad.
What I'd
Yeah.
like to hear from is people who are, obviously don't have iPhones, who have LTE phones, who went from, something to a Galaxy Nexus or something to a Lumia 900, something with 3G to LTE, and how much their data, heavy users, and how much their data usage changed, and whether they use more than 2 gigabytes more per month. I would like to know.
I'm only on 3G, but I only use like 200 megabytes a month. Like it's,
Really?
yeah,
That's nothing.
I know.
If you stream,
How
if,
co-
if you
maybe I
don't
shouldn't-
stream,
What?
if you don't stream music,
Yeah, I
then
don't.
it's hard to or video. It's hard to use.
It's really video.
Video, music will do it too. Like if you listen to music, if I listen to music on RDO that's streaming in the car and both back
Do
and
you
from
set
work,
your quality to the highest quality?
fuck yeah, of course.
See, it's all about that peace of mind. I want to not have to think about that ever.
Well, so
I,
what? So
at
what
most-
plan is going to allow you to have that?
The fake unlimited. I'll be throttled, but at least I can check email. I'll get a slap on the wrist for watching too many
That's
YouTubes.
the voice of a victim right there.
Going back to a landline. This is
I'm tired
bullshit.
of I'm tired of Gary holding over the fact that his phone always works.
He's on Verizon, right? And he's had a good
Last-
experience.
He had
like-
a proud transition over
Yes.
to Verizon.
Like I'm sitting here, I can't even believe I'm asking this after my tirade just now, but like I'm still not totally sure which way to go because.
But wait, Brad, you're committed now to iPhone 5 though.
Yeah,
Is
because
that
you've
what
been
you're
you've been a free agent
Yeah.
up until this point.
Yeah, this would have been a lot more interesting conversation last week when I
Well,
was
the
waffling
920?
between the 920 and this unseen iPhone.
You mean
but
the potential future
that's
versus
the
the
thing.
future today?
I talked to you on IM one day, and you pretty much talked me off the ledge.
We workshopped some workshops.
You did, yeah.
Material.
I mean, what you said totally makes sense. Why back the third place player right now when by the time my contract for the iPhone 5 is up, they will have either proven themselves or Windows Phone 8 will be gone.
I mean, that for me, that's what it boils down to.
so I could get on then.
You have 2 years. When you buy a phone, if you're a normal person, you're stuck with it for at least 2 years.
So you're saying you're a
Don't-
bandwagoner.
No, I want whatever is good.
No, you don't back
Don't
because
back-
you want something to be good.
Yes.
Back the thing that's
Right.
good.
Because
Right.
unlike, in sports, affiliation means nothing.
And you know what? Here's the thing. It's really fucking unfortunate for Microsoft. Like it is. They've made a pretty good platform. It's not proven itself over the first generation. The second generation has not launched particularly well. So it's unfortunate, but they had their chance and they whiffed. So why should people who are spending their money that they earn, and it's not just the cost of a phone, it's the cost of a contract over 2 years, which is a fuckload of money. On something that's not going to be awesome. Buy Android, buy iPhone. Both of them are good now. I can't recommend you buy a Windows phone now.
It's really worrying also that 920 at the event last week when that was basically the Windows 8 flagship device because Microsoft has that big partnership with Nokia, and people were not allowed to use the phones and use Windows Phone 8.
You know what
because
else?
It's not ready.
You know what else people weren't allowed to use when they announced it? Android tablets. Remember how awesome those turned out? Great. They didn't let people see the Surface. They didn't let people see the Windows Phone, the Nokia Lumia 920. Don't fucking hold out some sort of torch for the new IBM,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Go buy the thing that's good now.
Okay.
You're a good man, Brad
All
Shoemaker.
right. Yeah, I'm in. I'm convinced. I want the thing that has all the apps.
I mean, if you're going to play games on it, which it seems like
I don't even care about games so much. I just want like basic functionality to be there.
Have you played Fart Cat?
No, but I bought it.
Okay.
So maybe
This
someday.
is the work of a victim
Yeah.
here.
Dude, I bought apps that are now never going to get updated for this taller screen.
probably
like
true.
Sparrow. I bought Sparrow.
Did you play Super Mario Galaxy 2 yet?
No.
You're a sick man, Brad Shoemaker.
I mean, you see something on sale for 99 cents. You're like, yeah, I might use that someday. Why not?
yeah, of course.
What's $1?
You're gonna get a ton of you're gonna mainline the awesome
Can't
next
even
Friday.
get a cup of coffee for that. What does that matter? All right. So Verizon.
I'm gonna buy the wild card in all this is Sprint, and I don't know anybody who uses Sprint except for one of our old coworkers used to.
I know
Wes uses
somebody.
Sprint.
I know somebody over at CBS who I was just talking to about Sprint who uses Sprint, and I said, "How's the coverage?" And they said it's about exactly what you think it is. So
What the fuck does that mean?
take that as you will. What do you think it is?
Well, in my parents' house, it's awesome because Sprint was the only cell provider for a
So
long time.
are they on their own towers, their own infrastructure?
Yeah, they're their
everything?
own thing.
They don't piggyback.
No,
nothing.
no. Sprint used to be Nextel. Sprint and Nextel combined and made one super carrier that wasn't as super as they initially thought they might be.
But they have
unlimited data.
yeah, they have like pretty consumer friendly plans.
They're rolling LTE
all things
out.
considered.
Like they're making smart decisions for the third place carrier. They're making concessions. They're taking price cuts. They're making a good value. I've heard bad things about the way they operate
And they're
in
not
San
making
Francisco.
terrible ads.
I don't care about ads. I don't watch ads.
I
Turns out.
just want coverage
Don't watch
more
ads.
than anything.
Don't read rumors.
More than anything,
Yeah.
Smith lifestyle.
like cell phone service should start and stop with the service, right?
The thing about it is
Like,
you
I
want to
want
hit the
coverage
button
to be
and for
there.
it to work.
Yeah, yes.
It's really
I
simple.
want the phone to work generally wherever I am within reason,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah.
So it sounds like sounds like Verizon is closest to that ideal, even if they suck
You know what?
on a corporate
We
level.
should buy a really good, like some people we know, buy a really, really good, cheap dumb phone and then get an iPod Touch.
I've thought about doing that, and the new iPod Touch makes that kind of more compelling. Let's talk about the iOS 6 stuff because that's September 19th, which is I think next Wednesday. Is that
September
right?
19th is next Wednesday, correct?
Yeah. They're releasing iOS 6. It's coming to iPad 2, new iPad, so not first gen iPad.
And the Gold Master is out for developers.
Oh, did they release it finally? Okay, interesting. iPhone's newer than 3GS and fourth gen iPod Touch. So that means only the latest iPod Touch, the last two iPads, and iPhone 3GS and newer, which is pretty much anything. anybody
iPad
would be using
2s
now.
and newer as well.
Passbook is I think the most interesting. So they're releasing Maps, which has Apple's Maps, TomTom's data, turn-by-turn nav, which is new for iOS. I've been using it for a while. It's not
Cannot
very
stop
good.
complaining about it.
It talks
Oh
all
my
the
God.
fucking time.
Going on a road trip or a 2-hour drive to someplace we've not been before.
Where was that, Norm?
We'll talk about it in the future
Okay.
video. And needing directions and using iOS 6.
Turn left in 2 miles. Turn left in 1.5 miles.
The only thing
Turn
that was
left
more
in 1 mile.
more
Turn left
irritating
in 600 yards.
than
Turn
the iOS
left
6
in 50 yards.
instructions
Turn left now.
was the complaints about it.
So fucking bad.
Oh,
Basically
man.
double the bad.
What's the voice? Is it Siri?
It's Siri.
Is it really?
It may not be Siri, but it sounds like Siri
Close.
enough to me. Yeah.
Can't change it.
No voice. If you want to change it, you have to pay $50 for the TomTom app. But then Darth Vader can give you fucking directions.
Oh, that's
Who doesn't want Darth Vader to give you directions?
pretty convincing.
Yeah, it's Maps. I'm not a huge. I think it's a distant second or maybe third place Maps.
No
app at
walking
this point.
directions. But you know what? Google's
No mass transit directions either.
Yeah.
What?
No.
Well, they don't
that's
have a
not
database.
good.
Google's going to release their own Maps app
So Google released a YouTube app yesterday for iOS. They'll do the same thing for Maps.
because there is no YouTube app.
And will they be good? I mean, Google and Apple are basically at each other's throats these
there's
days.
no reason for them.
I think it was a mutually agreed decision because Google wanted ads on their YouTube app.
Yeah.
Okay, so there will be ads in this stuff.
And
Yeah.
ads in
But
the
at least you'll
Maps
have the
app.
data.
Yep.
If you desperately need bus directions, you can hop in that thing.
So one of the things that is nice about the new Maps app, it's very pretty. I haven't had it. They claimed that it's going to nav you around traffic. I sat in traffic for an hour trying to get to work this morning, and at no point did Siri say, "Hey, there's really fucking terrible traffic. You get off here, and we'll go faster."
What did
maybe it
Google
doesn't
now
work.
say?
I didn't have my Nexus 7 with me. I
Oh.
didn't bring it, and also I didn't have internet.
So where's their maps data coming from? They bought a
it's
mapping.
TomTom.
Oh, it is really.
They're licensing from TomTom.
Oh, wait, I thought they bought a bunch of mapping stuff.
They bought
They
map,
acquire
map
some.
technologies to not actual data, but the rendering
Oh.
technologies.
Yeah. There's a bunch of data about who the licensees are. I like the design of the map. The views, the maps actually look really nice.
The vector-based maps.
The vector-based maps
Oh,
look
wow.
great. They load seemingly a fair amount faster. You can print the maps now, which is kind of nice.
Any offline caching?
No offline caching that I've been able
No
to find.
offline caching.
Which Android of course has, and Windows Phone has now, I believe too.
I'm very curious to see if the Google's Maps app will allow that now.
I can't imagine that they got to leave something for Android. The other thing that is really nice is it uses Yelp for location data now. So if you're in a city that's supported well by Yelp, like San Francisco or New York or Seattle or wherever, then it's great. If you're not, then Google Places was probably better. So, which is what you had before.
It's very interesting because the Maps functionality is such an integrated part of other applications that tap into the API. So, like for example, if you use Yelp and you say, I want to find, use the map view on iOS 5, it pulls up the Google Maps. Here, it would not.
No, on iOS 5, when you go to a maps.google.com address, it pulls up the Maps app. When you on iOS 6, it goes to a browser with maps.google.com.
No, like if I'm in the Yelp app or something, or Fandango or something, and I'm
No, I
using
know.
the map view,
What I'm telling
where
you,
is that map view? Where is that data being pulled from?
it's from wherever that app wants it to be provided from.
So not the phone.
No, it's not from the phone API. But the weird thing that happens though is when you're in Yelp and you hit show me directions to such and such restaurant, it hands off. So, for example, here's the restaurant we ate dinner at yesterday. I'm going to hit the map button and I'm going to say open in Maps app, and it doesn't actually open in Maps app. It takes me to Google Apps and Maps and a web page,
Wow.
which I assume that they'll probably fix between now and
before
release.
it would go to the Maps application.
Before it went to the Maps
Well,
app.
there's no way it's going to go to the new Google Maps app because iOS doesn't let apps.
Right. Obviously, they're not going to hand
launch
that
other
off.
apps. Yeah.
But yeah, that's going to be weird for a while, and I think people are going to have to update their apps to support the new Maps app.
Okay.
May happen before launch. It may be something that's only a pre-release problem. Siri is getting a little bit smarter. You can ask about baseball scores and stuff like that. I still don't think it's as good as the Google stuff that's in Jelly Bean, but it's definitely an improvement. I still only use Siri for like text.
I care less about
Tell my wife I'm on my way
the
home.
functionality and the services that Siri could tap into as much as reliability and just getting voices right.
It's
and learning.
It's still I still see that Malkovich ad come on sometimes, and I'm like, I could ask.
Wait,
I
but
could
no,
say,
fuck ads. Fuck ads,
life.
Will. Fuck ads. You don't care about ads.
and it's not going to give me the Malkovich answer ever.
Ads don't matter.
See, Siri gives up when I say life. That's exactly right. Let's talk about iPod Touches real quick, and then roll on to the next.
A lot of people thought that
section.
there would be no other announcement. That this would be an iPhone only.
That's what they've always done in the past.
Yes.
Well, September is for iPods. It used
Well,
to be.
regardless of when
It
the
is
announcement
September,
is,
Yes.
that iPhone is such a big moneymaker for Apple, as such a flagship product, that they don't share the spotlight. But they did, and
Well, they haven't
announced-
updated the iPod Touch in a long time.
So they did finally iPod Touch, and also
The Nano.
the Nano.
Yeah.
They went with the Nano first, and the Nano, which is in its 7th iteration now, no more Watch Nano.
Yeah.
That's good.
Is it?
I didn't like the Watch Nano. It was a really bad. It was a neat idea, but it was really bad for users because if you sweat into the headphone hole, you wash your
no.
hands, anything like that, you instantly void the warranty.
Oh.
So it kind of looks back like the old Nano, the one that was all shiny and curved.
fat one?
No, not the fat one. The one that was tall.
The original
Really
one,
t-
the
no,
gum
not-
stick one.
The gum stick one didn't have that tall screen though. There was one that like the one that Joey has.
Oh, right.
Tall.
The 5th gen,
It actually
fifth gen.
4th
looks,
gen, 5th gen.
5th gen.
but it
Yeah.
sort of looks like a cross between that and a touch.
because
an iPhone,
instead
or an iPod
of
Touch.
having the scroll wheel, the wheel that was on
Mhm.
that, and that was like one of the last devices that actually had that wheel. Now it has the button, home
Yeah,
button.
just a button.
Home button and
and
touch
touch
screen, right?
Yeah.
So 2.5-inch screen, 16 by 9. They're bringing back video. It's a multi-touch screen if you want to really look at pictures. I don't think they said what the resolution was. It might be on the site right now. I don't know.
How big are they? How much capacity?
16 gigs only. They're only selling a 16.
That's
gig
a lot
version.
of. I mean, that's a shitload of memory for a music.
Just
only
for music
player.
and video.
and a little bit of video, I guess.
Yeah.
What's the price?
And the price is
So I think
believe
140.
169,
160,
Or
149?
maybe 150.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it was 149.
That's
I
gonna be a
have-
hot seller.
Here's a question.
Yes.
And there's Bluetooth on that as
Bluetooth
Oh,
4.
nice.
well. I believe so.
Bluetooth Nike Plus has a pedometer, holds
Yeah.
30 hours of music, plays 30 hours of music. It's
I
a lot of space.
I signed up to send in my very first gen iPod Nano under that recall.
Oh, nice.
Remember that, the battery
Yeah.
recall?
Did you get a watch?
Still haven't done it yet. I've still got the envelope
Ooh.
sitting in my desk
Oh.
drawer.
You should do it.
If I said
no.
if I wait like another week or two, well, how long do you think I should wait? What do you think would happen?
Have they sent you the hey? You got to send this in.
It said you have 160 days from the time of application
What
to
was the
send it
time
in.
of application?
Like maybe a month ago.
Oh, yeah, I'd wait a
Wait.
couple
Oh
weeks
wait.
So
for
just
sure.
wait a while.
Wait.
Yeah, fuck
Wait and get the new Nano. Oh,
Yeah.
That's a
gold.
huge score. Was
All
it the
right.
very first one?
Yeah.
My wife has one of those. I wonder
And
if it was
They,
eligible.
And not-
they look
you just
so
gotta-
good, but they're scratched up so.
Yeah,
bad.
that shiny polished back was just a scratch magnet.
Gina's has been in one of the Nano condoms since I bought it
Oh,
for
it's probably
years and years
fun,
ago.
man. But you
Hers
just
looks
gotta
great.
go punch your serial number in on the site, and it'll tell you.
Huh.
And they're not all eligible. Ryan had the same model, but his was not eligible. It just depended on what battery went
because
into it.
they exploded
Or
batteries.
something about a bad battery. Yeah.
So new Nano
Colors.
will come in 7 different colors or something like that.
That's
They're very
awesome.
shiny.
Why do you think they don't do
Right
iPhone
front.
colors? Since Nokia has been
Material.
making that a thing. Oh, is that it?
Nokia phones, Lumias are polycarb,
Oh, right.
and
Easier
this
to
is-
make.
You
This
can
is
make
colors.
colors easy.
Okay.
This
Yeah.
is ceramic glass.
Okay.
Joey's doing push-ups again.
Um,
God damn it.
so iPod Touch finally updated. Also, like the iPhone 5, it's taller, has that 4-inch screen. They say it's the same display as iPhone 5.
That's new.
which is new because the Retina iPod Touch had a really crappy display.
It wasn't. Hold on. It wasn't really crappy, but it was noticeably inferior to the iPhone 4.
Very noticeably inferior.
Like there was
Viewing
dithering and
angles were not
yeah.
good. Color saturation, and also this Apple says the iPhone 5's color saturation is much better on the new phone than on the 4S
Great.
and the 4.
Don't
So very thin. I think it's like 6 millimeters. People who have had hands-on time with the new iPod Touch say it's incredibly thin. No longer that shiny metal back that also gets scratched up. Now it's curved aluminum back that actually might be indicative of the design of the iPad Mini, if based on the
Wow.
photos.
Do you think that if you hold this up and put your hand on either side, you could snap it in two?
Probably
Like
if
a
you're
twig?
Yeah,
We should
it's-
try
it's
that.
Tall enough.
Test
Well,
it.
That's going to be a $200
I'm willing to throw $200 and see if you can smash an iPod Touch.
experiment. It's
Touch.
$200 or $300.
Two,
$200.
it's I didn't put the price down, but I think it's
So they're
So you
still
can take a
selling.
bite out of it.
I don't want to take a bite. That would be bad for your teeth.
They're still selling the old iPod Touch, cheaper now, 16 gig, 32 gig. The new one will be 16, 32, 64. Very colorful as well.
Good battery
it's
life
their,
still? Did they say?
Yeah, they said 30 hours again.
The nice thing I thought, does it do FaceTime? Actually, I don't think it does FaceTime.
I'm not sure. It does have
Does it have a
Siri.
front-facing camera? I'll look.
Has Siri, has a camera, has a 5 megapixel camera, probably the same one that was in the iPhone 4. It's their best selling iPod. I mean, parents who don't want to get kids their iPhones because of data plans, get kids, really,
iPod
really
Touch.
fortunate kids, iPod Touches.
Yeah. It looks like I don't have internet connection because of our awesome internet. So,
But it also
I
has
will look
it's
that up.
running the A5 chip and not the A6 chip. So basically the same computational and graphics capability as an iPhone 4.
AirPlay mirror,
iPhone 4S,
bunch
I mean.
of colors, 5 megapixel camera with backlight sensor, which is new. I think that's it. Anodized aluminum back.
Aluminum back, not shiny.
And they did new earbuds too. They looked profoundly uncomfortable in the pictures.
Excuse me, they're the earpods.
Don't say that. They're earbuds.
Don't say earpods.
I think they can't be worse than the old ones, probably. Like the old earbud.
Which old ones? The
the
bundled
current
ones?
ones, the bundled ones.
The current bundled ones.
I
'cause
can't
they
keep them in my
changed
ear.
Design.
Yeah, but there's still the sticky.
They had the stick one,
Yeah, the stick one was awful.
and then they had the curved bundled ones,
The
which
curved
have been
bundled ones
around
are
for
also
a while.
bad.
And then they had the high end rubbery ones.
The jab in your ear ones,
That
the
you ja-
in-ears. Yeah, those also were. Did you ever try those? Are
No.
profoundly uncomfortable.
And these
Um,
now look more like the jabby ear ones, but without the rubber extra.
Yeah,
jabby
why would you
part.
want the rubber for comfort?
I predict they will still be bad.
Who knows?
Free headphones are crappy. What a shock.
They can't be worse.
Hmm.
This is the takeaway.
I don't know why people use those things to begin with.
Because they think they make them look cool and they
They,
think they're probably
you
awesome.
make yourself a target.
Yeah,
For muggings.
you totally do. And
Yeah.
also, they don't sound good and they're not comfortable.
So instead, you
what
should
are you doing?
replace them with your Beats by Dre and let people know that
Don't
you're
wear
Oh,
Beats.
that's even
really,
worse.
really have
That's
a
even
lot
worse.
of disposable income and are kind of, a little silly.
No.
Let's see what else is going on. More iOS 6 iOS stuff. Do we want Goldmaster? You said is out
We still haven't talked
about
Passbook.
Passbook. So Passbook, we talked about it a lot at the WWDC keynote when they
Okay.
announced iOS 6.
Well, more than that, like the omission of NFC and whether that matters and how.
yeah, I think it matters.
Yeah.
I think it would be much more useful if, I think iPhone adopting NFC could drive NFC at a really high pace.
So that's my question: is it doesn't seem to be the case that NFC is already so entrenched as a standard that this is is ruinous to the quality of this product.
No, the problem is that without a product that has massive sales adopting it, it's probably going to stall out.
Right.
It's
So
more
that's
likely
the
to
thing.
stall out.
But there are alternatives, right?
I'm sure.
I've read. I was reading somewhere that Bluetooth LE is a potential replacement for this. I don't know if that's in there, or if you get that for free along with regular Bluetooth.
It might be part of Bluetooth 4, even. Who knows?
Yeah, I think it is.
One of the problems with NFC is that there's a couple of different people that want to serve as kind of the clearinghouse. So the reason that, say, I think it was the Galaxy Nexus, right, had NFC chip, but the Verizon phones.
You're talking about the Galaxy S.
Am I talking about the Galaxy? I am talking
Nexus,
about the Nexus S.
Nexus S.
They didn't. It didn't support. Google has a Google's payment scheme and Verizon's payment schemes were different. Used different providers.
So only on Sprint.
So only on Sprint did the NFC stuff work right. And if you were on Verizon, then the NFC stuff worked with MasterCard instead of whatever Google's thing was. And it's all over Google Wallet. Thank you. It's all over the place. I mean, I think ultimately not using magnetic strips that carry around essentially unencrypted data is probably better, a better solution for humanity for carrying electronic payments. But I don't.
I'm gonna let Square lead the way and figure out a way to.
Well, have you used the Square app that lets you pay to Square without swiping your card?
Yeah, like going to Starbucks.
Not the thing that shows the barcode, but when you go to like a store, you just say, "Okay, I'm going to send you a payment. Here's where I'm at," and boom, it goes over. I haven't tried it yet.
Is it kind of like buying stuff from the Apple Store on
kind of
on the phone and then just walking in and grabbing it and walking out?
Yeah, which always feels like stealing to me.
Always feels like stealing.
Sometimes I jam it down in my pants just so I feel like I'm shopping.
Wear extra baggy pants.
Yeah,
buy a keyboard.
Cargo pants, man.
So I carry my keyboards.
What kind of loss prevention do you think they have in place?
Did you say yo there? Was that a yo?
Yeah,
a Chan yo? At Apple?
Yeah. With that new system,
I think that if you go too far out of the mall in either direction, out of the gray walls, the panels open up and ninjas jump out.
Oh, okay.
I've also been playing a lot of Mark of the Ninja, so that could influence his opinion. YouTube app for iOS is out. Theoretically, that means that a Maps app is coming as well, which would be welcome because I already missed the public transit maps in iOS 6 maps.
Mm-hmm.
Not having bus maps and train maps is a real bummer. Passbook, I've been looking for a list of all the companies that are going to support Passbook. If the companies that you use, airlines, movie theaters, ballparks, if you go to a lot of sporting events, that kind of stuff, if they support it, it's going to be awesome.
Airlines, so important.
But do you still? I mean, I guess it's probably going to vary by vendor and stuff. But like, you still need to get the phone out, turn the screen on, and navigate through an app to do stuff, right?
It's on your.
It's on your notification.
It's on your notification. It's on your front.
Okay.
Your lock
you
screen.
still need to turn screen on though.
Yeah, but you have to do that for NFC anyway,
like
because you have to put in your PIN when you pay with NFC.
Oh, okay. So the beautiful dream of just waving your phone at every cash register and train turnstile and movie theater that you
should be able to do that.
Yeah.
I hope that they did the homework and got like the thing that I've always found when you use the barcode to check into the airport or whatever is if you forget and leave your brightness too far down, it's never going to work. Like never. So I stopped actually doing the digital boarding passes because of that.
And it's all time based, not location gated.
It's time and location gated, the Passbook stuff. So when you're near the movie theater, if you have movie tickets in your Fandango app, theoretically it should just pop up.
Why not just time for that? That makes more sense.
I don't
think it needs location gating for like movie tickets.
I don't know.
Or flights.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
I mean, it would make sense for Starbucks to be location gated if you're close to a Starbucks and because you're not going to know.
Hey,
exactly
you got $20 of credit. You want to go spend some money at Starbucks?
Yeah,
that's the kind of annoying push
non-fat
notifications
latte.
I need. There's a war. While we're talking about Apple, this is the end of the Apple talk, guys. So get it all out of your system now.
I'm gonna play some Foo Fighters at the end.
What the hell was that about?
They always do that at iPod events. They always have a band.
Really?
I saw Kanye at an Apple event once.
Whatever, man.
He sang Gold Digger. It was really weird.
Foo Fighters playing corporate events is so 1998.
I saw Nora Jones.
It was the first time I saw them play a corporate event.
Was that E3?
Yeah, E3 1998.
Sony or something?
Sony party in Atlanta.
I remember that.
On top of a parking garage.
Yeah.
And then we went to the Sega party at some tiny club later, and guess who was there?
Foo Fighters.
The Foo Fighters.
Did Sega pay for the Foo Fighters?
The story going around was that they just wanted to keep playing, like they wanted to go play a club, and they found out about that party, so they just went over there and crashed it. I don't know if
Can't
that's,
stop the rock.
I don't know if that's accurate or not. This was like at the
Damn,
height.
Dave Grohl.
This was like just post Color in the Shape, so they were like huge then.
It's not
Foo
one
Fighters.
by one, Will.
That was Joey, not me.
I don't know if the story about them just showing up and playing is true, but it was pretty cool to
Ooh, apocryphal.
go to another club
Tech
and see
events.
them still playing.
Yeah. I remember seeing I've seen a lot of bands at dumb press events. I think the best one was The Who when they played the Rock Band 2 event.
That was pretty good.
That was a real surprise.
Yeah.
Because I mean, who would think that they could get the fucking Who?
Yeah. Or that they would be any good.
Yeah,
They were awesome.
and they were.
Well, no, I'm saying in their old age. You know,
okay.
you didn't know if they were still going to bring it or not.
Yeah, you could
But
see
they
a Bob
totally
Dylan
did.
there. Nobody wants to see Bob Dylan.
You know,
anymore.
Pete
I love
Townsend's
Bob
still
Dylan.
out there doing the windmills, and you know,
It was kind of a sad win, Nil. But they played
I thought
good.
It was pretty, but
sang,
the sounded,
sang good.
yeah, like all
everybody
she sounded
sounded
It was in the
great.
same
great.
theater as
Way
that
better than
press
that
event.
Super Bowl, that
Yeah.
halftime show.
Yeah, because I remember before the Super Bowl, I told everybody, "Hey, these guys are really good. We saw them a few
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah.
They were awesome." And
Yeah.
then the Super Bowl.
I wonder if
Yeah.
some journalists who are tough on their integrity resist, like put on
Ever
like,
go to those shows?
no, like at the end of like the Apple press event, they'll put on noise canceling headphones. I will not enjoy your free concert from the Foo Fighters.
So the way the Apple things work is you can tell who's working and who's not, because the people who are watching the show, instead of aim down at their computer typing as fast as they fucking can,
Trying to finish their live blog?
Yeah, exactly.
That's why you got to put on those the noise
big
canceling
Boses?
the big headphones.
Oh, fucking live blogging, dude.
I
I don't think there's any remnant of my professional career that I miss
Note
less
taking in
than
class.
live
I liked
blogging.
live
Come
blogging.
on, no,
Really?
It
was fun.
It requires zero brain activity.
No, it requires a shitload of
Well,
brain
that
activity
was-
to be good.
brain
Well, that was the
activity.
thing. It was so mind numbing that I started finding ways to make it entertaining by just like getting totally punchy and ridiculous in there.
And now you get that bullshit on Twitter.
Yeah,
It's terrible.
yeah, okay.
I live blogged a Carmack keynote at QuakeCon
Oh
one year.
God, dude.
4 fucking hours.
Wow.
At some point, Steve Gibson came over to me and was like, "Dude, you need to how are you moving your hands?"
Hand cramps.
And
Yeah,
now it's
just
live
be
stream.
crippling.
You know, they live stream.
Yeah.
It's no fun anymore.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Kindles, because Kindles came out last week. Amazon announced a whole shitload of Kindles. It's so many, I don't even know how to count
This
them all.
video, so it was about an hour and 16 minutes. The event in Santa Monica.
Is it on iTunes?
It's on YouTube. You can,
Okay.
It's under the Kindle account. You can watch the entire thing. It's a wonderful presentation by Jeff Bezos.
He did the whole thing
And
himself.
He did the whole thing himself, and it was well rehearsed, topical. The video is well produced, and a lot of people said it was very Apple-like.
I don't care about that. That's
And
a
the
horrible thing to say.
presentation is very important. They did announce, as everyone expected, new Kindles, not just Kindle Fires, but new Kindles, real Kindles. Where do you want to start? Let's start with the Kindles.
No, I have the Kindle Paperwhite at the top of the list because it's the only one that's exciting.
The Paperwhite.
Paperwhite.
Paperwhite. Oh, that's such a bad name.
It's a bad name.
You
But
sure it's called the Paperwhite?
I'm not sure that's right.
Paperwhite?
Paperwhite.
Oh, sounds like paperweight.
Paper,
That's just a paperweight.
It's the paper
What's that?
white.
It's my paperweight.
That's why you gotta be so racist, Chan.
It makes it sound like it's
What?
exactly what Jeff Bezos does not want his devices to do: sit on tables and sit in drawers.
So the Kindle Paperwhite is similar.
it's the new flagship
E-ink.
e-ink ebook reader.
It
Now
has a
with
front-lit screen.
side lit, front lit screen.
Well, it's front-lit because it lights the front of the screen.
Yeah. So the way he described it is that unlike the
Nook.
the Nook with the light, which was there was a ring of
The light
LED
touch?
lights on the side that lit up the side, so it's kind of like uniform side lit.
Uh-huh.
The way the Paperwhite works is that there's a sheet. What he said was, think of it as a fiber optic,
It's a transflective material.
like through fiber optic.
So it's kind of like an edge lit LED TV.
Do you
with
remember-
the lights around the sides and are conveyed across?
right, and then they travel through
Yeah.
what is basically a very
Ripply.
well, as if you squish a fiber optic cable,
Yeah.
and there are openings in that panel that let light through, and at the end, when it reaches the end, the light's diffused.
Do you remember when you got your first Game Boy Advance and it didn't have a backlight? And you could
I
go on
do.
the internet
You buy
and
that-
you could buy that kit
Yeah.
that was like 50
The
bucks.
Afterburner.
And it had a magnifying
Yeah,
glass.
and
You could send it off later, and they would do it for you.
I just did it myself,
Yeah.
and I got dust all up in my GBA,
Yeah, you don't-
and it was
don't
never
wanna do
quite
that.
right again. But it was lit, and it was front lit, and
Yeah.
it was kind of awesome.
Well, kind of top lit, side lit.
It was. I could use it in the dark,
Yeah,
and I
you're
didn't
right.
have to go outside
You're
to
right.
use it.
God, remember that?
Yeah, why the fuck did Nintendo?
LCDs without backlights?
Of all the boneheaded decisions Nintendo has made over
Yeah.
the years, a non-backlit LCD is by far the dumbest.
That one was rough.
It's up there with the Virtual Boy.
Yeah.
It's amazing that product succeeded.
Yeah.
because it was ugly too.
the purple.
Purple and what that kind of
It wasn't a
the
beautiful
game
device.
Looks so good. The games look so good.
It wasn't a beautiful device, but it was okay.
Once you
the
put
jump,
that front light on,
But then
it,
the SP,
yeah, the SP was
game,
fucking awesome.
GBA SP was one of the better handhelds ever made.
and
Yeah.
unconventional looking one.
Well, it was
clamshell.
a flip phone.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
and,
the
and
first
also it was
clamshell.
boxy.
That was the
The
big.
old-
yet,
oh,
and
yeah, I
yet
guess it
comfortable.
was.
That was the
So
beginning of
comfortable.
that was pretty much the beginning of Nintendo's like their to this day
Ascent to
their
madness?
their product design philosophy, the kind of
Rectangles, yeah.
clamshell stuff.
Curved rectangles. The new Paperwhite. The light is always on,
Yep.
and it'll last 2 months.
8 weeks.
8 weeks with
Oh.
the light on.
With wireless off.
Yes. And there's actually the e-ink is more responsive. Like every generation, the processor gets faster,
Yeah,
so it's a
better
little more,
contrast.
and it's actually higher pixel density.
It's 212 pixels per inch.
Yeah. So I can't wait to see this in person. A lot of people still have the Kindles that with a keyboard. That was a good price point, $120.
Are they still selling that?
They are not. No Kindles
Okay.
with keyboards. This is touch, of course, and very minimal design. All the Kindles now have the ads.
Robin Sloan had a really good post about the Kindle with keyboard. He carries one of those in his bag. He travels a lot around the world, and he carries one of those bag because their WhisperSync deal for the Kindle with keyboard with 3G modem basically is good everywhere in the world. So you have something that you bought for cash money, has unlimited internet for the future, and has a web browser built in.
Wow.
The newer 3G Kindles don't have a web browser built in. So he carries it and just keeps it in his bag when he's someplace weird and needs to pull up a Google map or something like that. And his phone won't work.
Wow.
So if you have one of those, don't get rid of it. I would say keep that. That's
You
worth
can use
keeping.
Google Maps.
You can use Google Maps in the browser since they updated it a couple years ago. Like
Crazy.
like Gmail works. It's not great,
No,
but
no.
but
I mean,
any port in a storm, man.
yeah.
So what's the point of this light? Just to use in like pitch blackness? Because like the whole selling point of the e-ink stuff was that you could use it in normal light,
Well,
right?
So I use I use the e-ink Kindle like I use a book. So I read it sometimes when I'm at the beach.
Yeah.
I read it in the backyard sometimes. If I
Right.
want to sit out and drink a beer and read a book. Sometimes I sit in the living room and kind of dimly lit environment.
Well, that's what I mean. It's
Sometimes
like-
I lay in bed and
Yeah.
it's late at night and my wife's sleeping and
This thing is for laying in bed with a sleeping spouse or using on an airplane where you don't want to turn on the reading light.
When you think
right?
of it's not, because it's not a backlight, it's not going to be super powerful.
Yeah.
It's
But
supposed
you
to
don't
improve
need it to be
contrast.
super powerful.
You don't. No,
You
you
like
don't.
you need very little light to read an e-ink screen, especially if it's a dark, otherwise
And I
dark
think it is
room.
very little light.
In fact, actually, my only complaint with the existing generation of Kindles is that the cases that have the lights built in, those lights are crazy bright and can't be adjusted down. So they're too bright to actually use when you're in a dark room.
So $120.
I think it's $120 for the non 3G one. The 3G one I think is $30 or $50 more, something like that.
And then they do have a standard Kindle without the
They
paper light.
updated that one with the new higher contrast screen. It's not the same pixel density.
But it's still the touch.
It's not touch.
Oh,
it has
not,
buttons.
it's a button one.
So the other thing that they didn't do on the Paperwhite, which I think everybody was hoping, was that they would add page turn buttons. Because while the touch stuff works okay, I've been using the Kindle Touch for a long time now. It's not ideal, and you can occasionally do the thing where you hold your finger on, like you fall asleep with your thumb on the screen, and you wake up 30 pages ahead of where you expected to be. That kind of stuff's still pretty annoying.
Oh, they also changed the software, so it'll let you know how many estimated minutes before the end of a chapter. Or
Really?
Before the end of a book. I don't know if that's dynamically changed based on your speed of reading, but
I
one of the
assume
things
so.
that they said was that people always complain when you're reading a paperback book, you can see, am I going to go to sleep after 2 chapters, 3 chapters? And now, bottom left hand corner, tap the number, page instead of page number, it'll say you got 12 minutes left.
People are really anal retentive.
Book readers, man.
I read
So
books.
the updated non-touch physical button, non-paper white.
It's still a better screen. It's not a Paperwhite model.
It has the ads.
Yeah.
Was $79 and now it's $69.
Yeah.
So $70 for a Kindle.
And you can remove the ads for I think $15 or something like that. It's a different price for each Kindle.
So all the Kindles now have ads,
Yeah.
including the two new Kindle Fires.
Kindle. Oh, hold on. Paperwhite's available October 14th, I think, or 12th. Or
Can you
something like that.
pay
October
to
3rd.
remove the ads from that thing?
I believe you can pay to remove the ads from all of
Shipping
them. There was a
October
little bit of
1st.
an uproar because initially they said you wouldn't be able to remove the ads.
So based on their customer data, no one bought the ones without ads. Everyone bought
Really?
the ad ones because you had
Huh.
the option to remove the ads later. So why
Okay.
not save the money
And-
up front?
Yeah, sure.
And the ads were good.
I'm a dude that doesn't like ads. I mean, I did occasionally get like a bikini wax ad that's not necessary at all, but the ads are completely unobtrusive. And I didn't miss the kind of wood cutout pictures of the famous authors
yeah.
at all. So yeah. I think that I like this is a situation where I'm perfectly happy to allow them to subsidize my cost for the device by replacing ads. Now, if you have an e-ink reader now, there's absolutely no need to upgrade to this unless a better light is something that is going to dramatically improve your
Yeah.
quality of life.
I mean, they made a big point. They sell products for people to use, not for people to upgrade. They want to get people off that upgrade treadmill. And people who own Kindle DXs, original Kindles, the white Kindles, they're still buying books. and Amazon's still making money off of them.
Yeah, one of the things he said during that keynote was that Amazon. Am I standing on your cord?
Yes.
I don't think I am. I think you're standing on it. You're standing on your cord. You're out of order, Shoemaker. One of the things that they said was that they buy 4 times as many books if you have a Kindle than if you don't.
Amazon, and it's a great line, is that Amazon they want to make money when you use their products, not when you buy their products. He's not Jeff Bezos.
That's a
is
real
not
clear
happy.
shot at Apple.
Yeah, absolutely. 'Cause
Yeah,
Apple
obviously.
makes a ton of money when you buy their products. It's not like they're making money. It's not the Gillette model where they're selling products at a loss, or that console model. But their bill of materials, they make like the Nexus 7. They're making very little money. Like Nexus 7, clearly they want you to get into that Google Play Store, and they give you that $25 credit. With the Amazon Kindle, they want you in the Amazon store, and the Kindle Fires are just like that.
Yeah.
So 2 new Kindle Fires.
Well, 3 kind of, because they updated the base model Kindle Fire.
Last year's Kindle Fire.
Last year's Kindle Fire, the shitty one. It now has a dual-core processor. It's the OMAP 4430 from TI. It's $159. It's 1024 by 600 pixels.
So that's pretty much the cheapest.
And it's 8 gigabytes.
Cheapest 7-inch tablet you can get.
Yeah,
but you shouldn't buy that.
They're basically paying you to take that away.
There's the Kindle Fire 7-inch HD. So that has increased resolution now up to 1280 by 800.
And those are shipping real soon, if not already.
Those are shipping this Friday, September 14th. And redesigned back, higher definition screen, faster processor. They say it's good in low light as well. It's still running their version of Android, and the reviews for those are out. Most people say the software is still not as good as
Jelly Bean.
Jelly Bean.
I mean,
7.
no kidding. It's taken Google 3 years to get Android to the point that it isn't real laggy, and it's not surprising that Amazon is having similar problems.
So I think being soured so much by the first Kindle Fire experience, I don't know if these products overcame that or gave us any more confidence in their operating system, their version. They treat it just like Linux, but their version of Android. You're still locked into that Android App Store, the Amazon Android App Store, which has most of the popular Android apps.
Yeah, it's fine on that front. It's just the performance wasn't very good.
Yeah, the web browsing performance, you don't get Chrome. It's still their browser.
The Silk browser is real bad, or it was the last time I used it. In fairness, it's been a while. And I mean, before you start writing angry comments about what assholes we are, it's one of those situations where it's great if it's good enough for you, but we're not comparing it to what your particular needs are. We're comparing it to what else is available on the market at a comparable price. And the last Kindle Fire was not as good as it wasn't good enough, even though it was really cheap.
So for
it
a
wasn't
comparable
something
price,
you would use.
it is the same price as the Nexus 7, $200,
Which is a good product.
which is a
Fantastic
absolute
product.
great product.
Yeah.
Jelly Bean is wonderful. It has double the capacity if you really need that. Jeff Bezos made a big thing about 8 gigs.
That's a
not being
fair
enough.
complaint, except unless depending
If
on
the
how they
OS
allow the users to access that data. Because on the first one, it was a little bit locked off. Not as bad as on the Nook, but you couldn't necessarily use the 8 gigs for things that you might want to use.
And I believe there are
8
more
gigs for.
ports on the Kindle Fire HD than there are on Nexus 7.
I want to say that there's a micro SD card slot as well.
And
I
HDMI.
can't remember. And HDMI, yeah. So this is looks like a competitive tablet.
Yeah,
right?
$200 for 16 gig and $250, I believe, for the 32 gigs.
It sounds great on paper. We have one coming. We'll let you know next week how it actually performs in the real world.
And then their one more thing is the way
worth saying it's a dual-core OMAP
Yeah.
4470, the one that Toshiba was having trouble getting because they said they didn't have any, and it's running 1.2 gigahertz. So, there's real hardware in here. It should be okay, assuming they haven't fucked something up on the software.
Yep.
Sorry.
And then there's the one more Kindle Fire, the 8.91 inch.
The big boy.
Yeah. And this one is both at $300 and $500. $300 gets you that big screen. What's the resolution on that one? Is it?
It's 1920 by 1080, so 1080p screen.
1080p screen on 8.9 inch, which
It's
is
16 by 9.
it will look good. But the more interesting model is the $500 model. For $200 more, they add 4G LTE. And we know that the price difference, and again, these all start at 16 gigs. We know the price difference between a Wi-Fi iPad
Actually,
and
the 4G one only starts at 32.
32 gigs. So you get the extra capacity and the 4G. Difference between a Wi-Fi iPad and a 4G iPad is $130, but you also pay for this extra 16 gigs from 1632 another $100. So the difference then between the Kindle, you're basically paying for the 4G. What you're subsidizing there, though, because the chip does not cost $130 or $200. That 4G chip is the data plan, and they have a special deal with AT&T that you can pay $50 a year, and you will get 250 gigs or 250 megs a month of 4G.
So 250 megs a month of 4G is checking your email 4G.
In 4G.
Yeah, what?
Not browsing the web in 4G. You can use
Seriously.
250 megs of data in like a half hour if you're on YouTube. Maybe.
It's an
Sure.
awful waste of 4G.
Yeah, that sucks.
Well,
Well, and-
however, if you're using it as a Kindle and downloading books and magazines, well, maybe not magazines, but books and reading text RSS feed blogs, it's more than sufficient.
Now,
Well, if
here's
that's
what
your
I
primary
would-
use for this device, why are you spending $500 to get a 1080p tablet?
This
People are really excited about this, Brad,
because
because it's free.
1080p tablet, $50 a year. What I would have loved to have seen is if they maybe doubled the price. I don't know what pricing would have worked, but if they had said, 250 megs of data on 4G LTE, but if you are downloading books or if you're watching Amazon Prime Instant, it doesn't count toward your account
So you want them to eat the cost.
because you're using Amazon.
Yeah, because you're using. Well, I don't think they're going to do that on free stuff. They might do it on stuff that you pay for.
Yeah, stuff that you pay for.
Right.
And so if you are on a trip and you wanted to rent the
The
Avengers
Avengers?
for $2
Thanks.
on Amazon or $5 or whatever it is, but that goes over 4G LTE and it doesn't count toward your download, that would be, I think, compelling.
I don't think Amazon can afford to transfer the Avengers over 4G LTE at
At
Amazon.
$5 if they're charging you to rent a movie,
I would be shocked.
I think that's the next step.
Oh, it is the next step.
It's incremental cost for them is nothing to rent you a movie. They pay the license to Paramount or Marvel, Disney, and then the data is not going to cost $5
on the
AT&T.
per charge rentals, I bet they get a cut of each rental.
Oh no, absolutely, they get
Yeah.
a cut of each rental. But let's say Amazon makes $2 off each rental.
Yeah.
It's not $2 of data on 4G.
Well, if it's
AT&T
a 4 gig file and
Well, the
AT&T charges $10 per gig over,
well, AT&T is
then
that's
it's
a ridiculous
$40
price.
worth of data.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous price.
Right. But my point, I mean, I think Amazon and AT&T value that data incredibly differently
Because of limited infrastructure.
because AT&T's infrastructure sucks balls. Yes.
So I didn't get a chance to ask that earlier, not to circle back too much.
Yeah.
But how is their LTE coverage?
It's cities are fine. Country, you're not going to. Country, maybe interstates okay. Major interstates are okay. You're not going to see LTE on AT&T outside. However, the difference between AT&T and Verizon is that AT&T's HSPA Plus, which is what they call the bullshit 4G on the non-LTE iPhones, it's actually okay. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not as fast as LTE, but it's definitely you won't notice performance problems checking your email and
Can't
streaming
wait
music and stuff like that.
to get rid of that 4G logo on iOS.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff has an iPad 3 with LTE.
Yeah.
And said he gets
Well-
LTE up in like Petaluma, up in the North Bay.
Verizon
On
has
pretty
AT&T?
well
No,
on
no,
Verizon.
Oh yeah, Verizon's.
Like he said, it's pretty widespread.
You can be in the Eastern Sierras where AT&T has never seen a signal,
Yeah.
and Verizon has 4G.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Sold.
Yeah.
Although one
How
last
often
point.
do you leave the city, Brad? You don't have a car. Fair enough.
One last point, but you dropping back to like you mentioned, dropping off LTE back to the older stuff.
Yeah.
Like, so you'll still run into the same limitations on Verizon with like voice and data simultaneous usage and stuff like that.
I
right?
don't know how that applies to LTE. That's a good question.
Well, if you're not on LTE, is what I'm saying. If you're
I'm
not
s- yeah,
using
if
LTE,
you're not on
on
LTE, then-
Verizon, you'll be back on CDMA, right?
I assume you'll be in a situation where you can't use voice and data at the same time.
Oh well,
But you shouldn't text and drive and call at the same time.
I wasn't planning to. I don't like you just said. I don't drive.
Oh, good point. You're a smart man, Brad Shoemaker. Kindle Fires. I mean, here's the thing. This is going to be unpopular. I think you have to wait and see on Kindle Fires. I would not pre-order a Kindle Fire after the abysmal performance of last year's devices. You'll note that he said that they sold a whole lot of those and that there's not a whole lot of them connecting every day.
Yeah, it was quite ironic because he said the last thing he wants is for people to buy their devices and then put them in drawers.
You know where our
Yeah.
Kindle Fire is, Norm?
It's in our drawer right there.
It's right over there in that drawer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's just weird for me because the Kindle e-ink readers are best in class devices. The Kindle Fires were utter shit from the beginning, so we'll see if they can make them better this go round.
Yeah.
Last thing, we have a couple of more things in news, some kind of short hits. Nokia.
So we talked about the Lumia 920 last week.
920 last week. It was kind of an underwhelming launch.
I don't think it was an underwhelming launch.
I would. When you don't let people hold the hardware, it's underwhelming.
It's underwhelming
New rule.
in terms of like Well, we weren't actually there.
No.
But you're talking about in terms of media coverage or in terms of people's reactions? What do you
Both.
mean? Like actual product? We can't say actual product
Because they haven't announced a date yet.
It's early November.
We know when it's going to come out, but they haven't said, "Hey, here's this phone you can buy at this time."
Don't you think it'll be time to Windows 8 or shortly after?
It's going to be the November 11th is the word. But I mean, the Windows 8 unveil is October 29th, so it's not the flagship phone's not going to be ready for the big unveil. Oops.
But there's more controversy with Lumia 920. So they made a really big deal about the PureView camera. It's not
It's
the
a
same
45
one.
megapixel camera,
It's
right?
not the 41 megapixel 808 camera. Nokia had a Nokia phone, the 808 PureView, which was running Symbian. It had a 41 megapixel camera.
It's a lot of megapixels.
Not really. The sensor was technically 41 megapixels, but what it did was overlap images, and what you get was a really sharp 5 megapixel image.
It multi-sampled the images, kind of.
Sounds cool.
Yeah,
so
it was really neat.
this one, they're calling it PureView, but it's just an 8 megapixel camera using some of the multi-sampling technology.
And nice lenses and over
Sure, calls
and,
nice
image
lenses.
Does it have sapphire crystal?
Don't be that guy.
Gonna put it on my ring.
Is it an eyesight camera?
So
Camera.
since they announced the Lumia 920, there have been some photo tests about the low light quality because that's what they touted, and the low light apparently in these very controlled tests in the real world outperform Galaxy S3, Galaxy Nexus, iPhone 4S, iPhone 4, and other cameras.
Awesome. That
What do you
sounds
do?
great.
That sounds
No,
great.
that sounds great.
Low light is very important. That's where people, like you said, Brad, if you're in a bar,
Yeah.
someone making a funny face, you want to see that funny face without using a flash. No
horrible
one likes a
flash,
flash.
yeah. Right.
Flashes are horrible. But in the video demo, the product
ad.
demos, the
They
ad,
made an
that,
ad.
that they showed for the phone / camera, one of the features they also touted was optical stabilization.
Image stabilized.
Optical image stabilization. OIS.
Springs. There
Turned
are
on.
springs.
And in the demo, they showed, some guy riding a bike next to a girl riding a bike.
She's really
and
cute girl.
and
I mean,
the guy was
really?
holding the Lumia
you
920.
could be that girl if you bought that guy if you were this
Girl
phone.
and a piece of marketing.
I know,
What?
it's shocking.
And he was recording her, assume with her permission, and she was smiling at the camera, and it was very stable. But as the camera, as the scene passed a car, or with a mirror
yeah.
on a shop, you could see that the camera shooting video of the girl was actually a truck with a dude out holding a big camera. Remember in The Dark Knight? Now I know you haven't seen Dark Knight Rises, but in The Dark Knight, when the Joker chases the Batmobile and Harvey Dent, and he hangs out with a bazooka outside of that big car, the
Yeah, the
shipping
truck.
car,
Camera
right?
operator hanging
Imagine that, except it's a camera operator with a big steady cam shooting the girl,
out. Oh man, that's delicious.
as opposed
It's the
to
smoking gun.
they caught it right in the video.
That's
It's
amazing.
27 seconds.
That's in the final video.
in the final
released video.
Nobody
marketing
who
video.
made the
No
video
one
noticed
caught it.
or thought to try to cut it out.
No one,
Wow.
no trickery. And
So-
they could have.
So
Wow.
The Verge
I
was
had
the
heard
first to
it-
report this.
Yeah.
Nokia has apologized. They've posted actual footage from the camera. We assume. I mean, they say it's actual. Who knows? And I think they're probably never going to do this again. I don't know.
You think
for
somebody
sure.
lost their job?
Oh, yeah.
I hope not. I mean, that's the kind of thing that if you're going to fire one person, I think you have to fire everyone who's involved.
From the top on down.
Yeah.
Here's
I
the
mean-
problem with that. It's the people developing the product and marketing the product, and and the CEOs on top. It's not like the banks where the CEOs sign off on everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless they're Jobs.
Well,
Some
I
kind
mean,
of crazed control freak.
Jobs would have signed off on everything.
Well, the saddest part is that it sounds like the truth of the device actually does outperform the competition.
Well, at least
So
in the
why
low light
do
test.
such a well? That's I thought is that
But
not what,
this was image stabilization.
oh yeah okay that's
the bike riding.
somewhat different yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, the thing about the Nokia phone and the thing that Microsoft's been doing that I don't think I don't understand. It's really hard to sell features on this kind of phone. Like it's the thing that I objected to with Google's marketing. They're like, look, our nav is much better than everybody else's. That's great, but the rest of the phone is really shit, and I use nav once a week. So if the rest of the and the rest of the phone's really shit is not fair, please, I don't want to hear about it. The rest of the phone wasn't as good as the competition. It's great that your nav is better, but I'm not going to change phones for something that I use in very special circumstances when the rest of the stuff that I do use 5 times a day, like email and texting and stuff like that, is much better. And so Microsoft trots out 1 or 2 things, and they don't highlight like the overall improvement isn't necessarily visible. And that's the thing that they need to be pushing. So yeah,
I do like that home screen.
I love the home screen. There's so much I like about the OS.
Yeah, live tiles are potentially the most exciting thing to happen to smartphones in forever if they actually did anything with them.
Yeah. I used an Uber app to get you over here today.
Yeah, I wish I had one of
It
those.
would be nice. You could go to the HTML5 site, just like the iPhone 1.
Like even the official apps don't do anything with the live tile functionality.
It always makes me laugh. Remember
It's insane.
at the beginning of the Apple keynote today when Tim Cook was talking about how many apps were in the store and all that?
700,000.
He didn't mention at all the fact that they launched the first iPhone and came out and said, "Look, you're not going to need apps for this. The web's so good, you can just web it up.
There was
Apps
a
are for
whole
chumps."
separate press conference about about mobile apps.
Yeah,
Facebook. Look how great that HTML5 Facebook app is.
yeah. Sony cameras showed up at Photokina.
Photokina is starting also
What's Photokina?
yesterday. It is a big photography convention. The
should have gone
CS
to
of
that.
photography.
Oh, they'll make a trade show for anything these days.
But it's in Germany, so I couldn't make it over.
You could have gone. You were halfway there in Philadelphia.
And everyone's rolling out their announcements. Sony made their announcements yesterday. A bunch of the NEX line has new NX6 now. So it's
What's the NEX6? I have a 5. Is that better?
It is better than yours.
Oh,
my number's bigger, dude. Come
yeah,
on.
I know. Come on.
Duh.
They now have a discontinued the C3. So they have the F3. I think they're discontinuing the 5N. F3.
I'm sure the 5N
They had a
is end of life.
357 usually, like kind of like BMW series. Now they also have a 6 series. And the 6 series has a electronic
Mercedes.
viewfinder, not as good as that one built into the NEX7. Also has some manual dials. Still the same APS-C sensor. Cheaper, less. I think still over $1,000 around there.
What's
Don't
the
quote me
sweet
on
spot still? Is it the F3 you think still?
I think the 5R is a sweet spot.
So the mid-range, $700
Mid-range,
camera.
$700 camera. When it's a little cheaper, it's $650. I really wish that they had a good $600 camera that was small, compact.
Gotcha.
Speaking of small cameras, this one is not in the NEX line. It's in the Cybershot line, which is
It's a point and shoot?
It's a point and shoot. Cybershot line. The RX1. It's a $2,800 small camera, but it has a full frame sensor inside.
Can it fit in an Altoid tin?
No, cannot fit in an Altoid tin.
It's not that small, is it?
It's smaller than your NEX.
Well, but my NEX 5N is pretty big.
For a point and shoot, it's thinner than that.
Does it have a big optical zoom?
No, it's fixed lens.
Oh, that's interesting.
Fixed lens, no interchangeable lens.
So what's it? I mean, is it for taking pictures in bars?
It's used for taking pictures,
Like
anywhere.
portraits and stuff like that?
Full frame, meaning you get no crop whatsoever. It's a expensive lens they've put on there, and out of my price range, $2,800.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it's $2,800.
Are they going after the Leica people? The
Yeah,
people who are
it's-
making
it's a
that,
Leica.
that, like, okay. That's interesting. That's real weird. That's a real niche market. That the Fuji FX100
It's a
or
companion
whatever that
camera if you
was.
already have a $3,500 5D Mark III or Nikon D800.
Well, sometimes you want a camera you can put in your pocket
Sure.
that costs $3,000.
Yep.
Hey, 2 space things. We talked about this a little bit during No Jars Allowed last night, but something random hit Jupiter last night or night before last. Now
Saved
or
us.
3
saved
nights
our
ago.
asses.
Yeah, it was big.
as Jupiter regularly does.
Jupiter is our goalkeeper.
Yeah.
It's Earth's sweeper.
Yeah.
There's videos of it on YouTube and Flickr and all over the place. A couple of amateur astronomers noticed it. They just happened to have cameras or telescopes pointed at Jupiter.
Was this object was its path headed toward Earth?
No.
Oh.
I mean, who knows? We don't know yet. But the odds of that are pretty low. Jupiter's a long way away.
Okay.
But yeah, it was a really spectacular explosion, and they're going to watch to see if the bands of Jupiter change as a result. The last time this happened in 2009, there was kind of a dark spot on Jupiter
Yeah, I
for a
remember
while
that.
or something.
Drops of Jupiter.
Don't sing train songs.
Not sing train
That
songs.
wasn't the best soy latte you ever had.
When's the asteroid mining going to start?
100 years from now. How old are you?
Man.
You got to live a long time, man. Reduce the calories, eat a lot of vitamins. You need to Kurzweil that shit.
Yeah, I don't know that I feel good about it anyway. So maybe that's fine.
Wait, you're not into exploiting
One of those
asteroids?
space hippies. Do it for the betterment of man, not for profit.
Just think about this though. If we start mining asteroids, that means that there will be space truckers out there. And can you imagine anything better than an interplanetary trucker? Like it's the opportunity to make new Smokey and the Bandit movies.
Yeah,
There's guys with
Dennis Hopper made a good argument for it.
yeah.
All right.
I mean, that's fantastic.
All right, fine.
It's the life I want my grandkids to lead.
Blue collar space workers.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're getting out there. We're exploited by the man, but we're living free the only way you can know how. Just driving your 18 rocket ship,
the open road
wheel rocket ship
Yeah.
on the Moon Mars run,
All right.
stopping at Eros and Ganymede, and Ganymede's not anywhere near there. But what's the big? Eros is one of the big asteroids. What's the other big asteroid?
Oh crap.
Deimos is the moon of Mars.
Ceres isn't.
Ceres is,
Or is that in
that's a
the-
star? Sirius. Oh, Ceres. Ceres.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
one of them.
Is that in the asteroid belt or in the Kuiper belt
It's
or the Oort cloud?
it's there somewhere.
Way out there.
Where do you consider the edge of the solar system, Brad?
Well, I'm not qualified. Nobody's.
What's your?
There's no consensus on that,
Do
is
you-
there?
do
I mean, it's like it's fuzzy because
There's a conversation.
what's happening, right? Because Voyager is on the way out.
We talked about this last week.
Oh, I missed
and it
that.
spawned a comment.
Yeah.
And at my initial response, so we talked about the edge of the solar system being the helio sheath,
It's past the heliopause, right?
which is where the solar wind stops being
Yeah,
measurable, and
right.
you end up being interplanetary forces pushing in.
Yep.
But a reader rightly pointed out that the edge of-
Interstellar.
yeah, I said interplanetary, right? Yeah. A reader rightly pointed out that you could actually consider the edge of the solar system to be the Oort cloud, which is another order of magnitude further away.
Beyond.
The edges of that are beyond the helio.
I mean, I
Is
guess
that the one that's a fan of
pause.
Star Trek?
I'm sorry.
What?
Oort Cloud? It's not the Futurama.
Oort cloud is where they went to when they had to save the penguins on the Penguin Reserve in Pluto.
Got it.
I mean, the Oort cloud is still under the influence of the sun's gravity, right? So I guess is that
Kind
the
of.
argument? So I mean,
I don't know.
that's
There's-
why it's there.
it was one of those things that like sometimes you go looking for something and you expect there to be an easy answer, and then you find out that there's a massive debate. The kind of commonly regarded edge is the heliopause,
Right.
And the time at which the Voyager leaves that will count. The Oort cloud is really big. It turns
Yes.
out.
Yes.
Um,
Gravity goes a long way.
Norman Chan, I'm curious about Curiosity.
Curiosity took photos of itself.
It's like mirror shots.
Like
They,
MySpace photos, right?
Okay.
Like, kind of
Yeah.
like down
It
angle.
was like not only did it take well, people have composited photos from Curiosity to get a full under view of Curiosity. Now,
filthy.
you can do Curiosity upskirt view,
Gross.
and then also Curiosity did take, like you said, Brad, a MySpace angled photo, and you kind of rotate it to get the full straight on.
Well, they did that a few weeks ago to make sure everything was deployed correctly and all that, right?
Curiosity looks good. Good looking robot.
It's There's some more shots from
Damn,
space.
Curiosity, you're looking sexy tonight.
I know what this episode's gonna be called. Anything else? They had a press conference the other day too. I don't remember I didn't ever see what they talked about, so it must not have been really revolutionary or exciting. They're not going to approach water if they find water with Curiosity.
Like standing water?
Well, there won't be standing water, but if they find
I know
water
it
ice.
won't, but the way you put that
It-
sounded like I was like, I don't think that's going to happen anyway.
Those puddles.
If they find ice, they're not going to approach for fear of contaminating with the earth microbes. So,
So
something-
weird.
Yeah,
That thing was. I
I
kind of figured the thing would have gone through some kind of sterilization process.
you'd think that, but maybe not. I don't know.
Huh.
I don't know
Or
full
the
details.
atmosphere.
Isn't that already a danger just because it's on the planet to
It's
begin
probably
with?
okay. It'll work itself out.
Curiosity offers smallpox blankets
Right.
to Martians.
Well, I wonder have they said like how far away could they detect like ice crystals?
I think they have to be drilling into them probably.
Well, then how are they going to know that
Well,
they're there?
they'll
so
find
they
the
can
ice
avoid
crystals and then
And
they'll
15
back
minutes
up.
later, and they'll
okay.
say, "Whoa, back away, not today."
Damage is already done.
They also landed in the equator, in the equatorial region, so there's a very low chance of ice being there. Ice is going to be found at the poles on Mars for the most part.
Right.
So that's it for news, unless we have anything else we would like to discuss. Norman Chan, Brad Shoemaker. Let's play some music and talk about what we've been testing. I've been playing board games. I went to PAX, and as a result, I went to I went to the board game room, and I played a lot of board games in the last 2 weeks. Board games.
Yeah.
I
Great.
I
Thanks.
posted about Eminent Domain. It's really good. You guys should all play that. Lloyd suggested something else that I hadn't heard of, but have now ordered. So I'll try that out as well.
Sweet.
We'll report back on that. Eminent Domain is a 4X deck building game.
Ugh.
4 X's. You can explore, exploit, exterminate, and exploit. Encounter, expand.
Explore.
Something else with an E and an X.
Explore.
Exploit again.
Yeah, exploit more.
And dodge.
It's awesome. It's
Sounds-
really fucking
Sounds
good.
horrendously complicated.
No,
No?
that's the beautiful thing about it. Is
Alright.
it seems like it'd be really complicated.
Yeah.
But it works just like a 4X game, right? You explore by digging through a deck of cards and you pick the planets you want to exploit at that point.
Is there also a board involved?
No board,
Oh, just cards?
just cards. It's
Wow.
a deck building game. So deck building games work by acquire cards, and those cards change the dynamic of your deck.
Okay.
And like you play out of your own deck. So like if we were playing, you would have a deck, I would have a deck. Never the twain shall touch in
Okay.
most cases. So you expand your planets, you expand the planets that you're going to exploit, and then at a certain point in the game, you have to kind of make a shift from expansion into research or trade or some other dynamic that's going to actually generate points. It's a fantastically fun game. Gene and I played pretty much every night
Wow.
since we got back from PAX, and it comes with little tiny plastic spaceships, which are also cool.
Great. I'll play that.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Are we going to do this?
Yeah. Sorry, I
Alright, can
didn't respond to your email.
No,
It's
it's
been
okay.
busy, but yeah, I'll totally.
I figured it's been a busy couple weeks for you guys.
Giant Bomb user sent in a photo of Star Trek Catan.
Oh, it's like
Yes, they
Catan.
announced it at
Oh, is it new?
Gen Con.
they just
Is it
announced
relatively new?
Yeah, it is.
I saw it at.
I think you said it was at
This-
a Target.
Oh, I mean, it might be
sell it.
released.
Oh, so, okay.
Catan
Yeah.
is at Target now.
Oh, yeah.
You can buy German board games at
No.
many
I
Targets.
just I didn't know if the Star Trek
Catan
one
was
had been
announced just,
released
this
yet.
past month and a half.
Okay.
They had
Okay,
it
I
at
guess it's out
PAX.
now.
They were selling it at PAX.
Okay.
Yeah, we will introduce you to board games and Patrick if he's into it too.
I could. Yeah. I think he's down.
Start
I could.
simple.
I could use
Yeah.
fewer screens in my life.
Yeah.
So that sounds good.
It's a nice activity to get around a table with some friends, have
Yeah.
a beer,
Yeah.
beat the shit out
Yes.
of each other.
Critical that these games would be playable while drinking.
Yes,
Yeah.
more chumps to lure.
Right. Norm likes
You're
to
not-
play German board games for money.
I was gonna say you're not playing for cash, right?
advise
No,
strongly against.
I'll bring
that.
my bottle caps.
Pogs.
I played Netrunner, Android Netrunner, which is a CCG. It's based on a CCG like Magic or something like that, but they made a deck building game out of it. Basically, been playing a lot of deck builders. It turns out it's real good too. It's really fucking complex, like terrifyingly complex. We won't make you guys play that. It's
All
a
right.
2-player game also.
Okay.
Thunderstone Advanced Norm. We've played Thunderstone before.
I don't remember that one.
Thunderstone is it's like a dungeon crawl. So you buy stuff to make you stronger, and then you go into a dungeon, you fight monsters, and you have to have light and all that stuff. They have updated that game in a big way. It is a lot easier to play now.
I kind of remember that
The
one.
time that we played was at the end of a.
Yes, long day.
Perhaps we'd been
Long day, long day,
consuming
long day.
alcohol.
Long day. day.
And we got stalled because we had monsters that were too hard for us to beat at the beginning. They've fixed that both from a deck building mechanic and from a basically you're rewarded for taking a hit for the team because it's kind of a weirdly co-op competitive game. It's really good. I mean, it's much better. I want to play it with like 4 people and see how I feel about it. There, it's pretty good with 2 people. Eminent Domain is rad with 2 people. You went to Philadelphia, Norm.
Yeah, I had the best sandwich in the America.
Is that what the sign outside the sandwich
Well,
place is?
no.
Lofty claim.
Well, Gary gave me a bunch of recommendations for Philadelphia.
Because Gary's a Philadelphia
And-
expert after visiting for 3 days.
Well, Gary optimized his time. He went for like a day and a half, and he went to all the best places. So I went to, like he recommended, the Constitution Center, which was awesome. Not
did
many
you get
people
to sit
there.
in Ben Franklin's chair?
No, Ben Franklin did not have a chair there. They
Oh.
had, you know how Gary has that photo where he gets sworn in? There's an exhibit there where you can get sworn in as the President of the United States.
He's wearing that jacket that makes him look like a near future dystopia president.
Yes, and they do take a photo of you, but you have to buy that photo. So Gary actually sneaked and got a photo,
An
an
iPhone photo?
and you
Man.
have to pay. And there were
Illicit.
2 people watching
Yeah.
that booth, so I could not sneak and get a
Oh.
iPhone
why,
photo.
why didn't you pay the $10?
I didn't need the photo that badly.
Oh.
But Reading Terminal Market was the universal recommendation, and it's like an indoor market. Kind of looks like a first floor of a. I don't know.
Kind of like Pike's Place Market.
It's all indoors though, all indoors within one big building, and it's like fixed farmers markets and fixed restaurants and stuff. And I walked in, tons of food, great neon lights and everything, and you're looking forward always looking for the place with the longest line. So I found an incredibly long
You
line.
are such a fucking hipster.
Long line indicates pot food in high demand.
You're right.
And in
It's
line,
not good unless you have to wait in line,
Oh
Portland.
my
Yeah.
God.
You wait in line, and while waiting in line, then that's when I Google on my phone the recommendations. Google the place, Yelped it, and it said best sandwich in America, as determined by Travel Channel's show, The Best Sandwich in America, as of August 2012.
I guess they would know.
That's a pretty good sandwich.
Pretty good
TV
sandwich.
said
Wait a
it
minute.
must be
So,
true.
wait a minute. It can't just be a restaurant. It has to be a specific sandwich at the restaurant.
Yes, roast pork sandwich with sharp provolone.
Mm.
Oh, that
Juiciest
sounds
roast
pretty
pork.
good.
Incredible.
Chunks or slices?
Slices. Huge. It pulled out from all the sauce, just like kept on piling it on.
With what? Provolone?
Provolone,
what kind of
sharp
sauce?
provolone.
Yeah.
It was just like the pork, roast pork, spiced up roast pork sauce.
Like a
It just
like
tasted like
oh.
roast pork, delicious roast pork. And
Any
right across from
vegetables?
there was a place called and some broccoli,
broccoli Rob.
broccoli rob, on top.
So like,
And
that sounds pretty good.
yeah,
Crunchy.
delicious. Very little bit
Steamed or sautéed? The broccoli Rob.
Steamed.
Steamed.
Oh, well, it may have been sauteed.
It
It,
had
was
like
flavor.
a-
It was like garlic, a little.
Yeah, they
little
probably
bit of garlic.
sautéed it. A little garlic and balsamic or something. Sounds real good.
Right across from there, literally best pastrami sandwich I've had
Wait,
ever.
you ate them back to back?
I ate 4 things there in one day, and I went back the next day.
Wow.
And then there was a place called Termini Market, which had the best cannoli in my life.
Jeez.
Well, yeah. So there's some foods I've found living on the West Coast for a while that you just simply cannot get here.
Or
Philly
they're
cheesesteak.
not worth getting. If you
Salted
can.
meats.
Yeah.
You shouldn't eat on the West
Like,
Coast.
Yeah.
I've only had
Outside, there's some delis in LA that have good salted meats, but they fly them in and it's a big pain in the
it
ass.
was thick cut pastrami with not like supermarket sliced pastrami.
No.
Like real juicy fat slices of pastrami, almost like corned beef. Except their corned beef was even fatter and
Okay.
juicier than that.
Not bad.
I got the pastrami sandwich the first day, and then the meat sampler the second day, where you cut big slices of brisket, pastrami, and corned beef,
Oh,
and you just eat that with a fork.
I'm so hungry right now.
I had I finally had legitimate barbecue out here for the first time.
Where?
In 9 years.
Where?
It's not a where.
Joey turned around.
It's more of a how or a why.
Is it that dude that just delivers to people's
Yes.
houses?
And
Yes.
I have known about that dude. I think
What
it's
dude?
multiple dudes.
What?
There's a dude that has a barbecue place that is not a barbecue
I
place.
think
You have to know someone.
This
It's
is-
like buying weed.
This is me sounding like a hipster asshole, but I've actually known about this guy since like
Is this
he
what Melissa
first
did?
started.
yeah,
got,
Melissa.
got for us at the old office.
So because I knew
yeah,
when I,
Joey gives us a double thumbs
when
up.
I was
yeah.
when I was at CNET back in the day, somebody I worked with there, these guys were actually operating out of her backyard. Like
Wow.
they had their smoker in her backyard.
Oh, how fucking
Which
bad would that be to
I'm
be
pretty
her neighbor?
sure they were violating all kinds of health code by
Oh, yeah.
selling this food and not having like a
Good
you know-
barbecue
But
transcends health codes.
so still to this day, the only way you can get the food is like they have a Gmail mailing list that you have to sign up for. They used to have like a Google Calendar kind of alert thing, but now they just send out emails. And I've been getting these emails for years,
Yeah.
like 6
You have-
years or
oh.
something. And I finally, for whatever, like they only serve food like when they're cooking it. It's not every week.
if it
It's
ain't
not,
smoking, we ain't open.
like you can't get food every day or every week. It's just when they're making it. So
Yeah.
they'll send out emails saying, "Hey, we're doing this and this and this week. We're gonna have like racks of ribs and pulled pork and whatever. So here's what we have this week. Email us if you want it and how much, and we'll bring it to you."
We're making a run.
So we bought $50 worth of barbecue.
How much is $50 worth of barbecue?
A full rack of ribs, a pint of pulled pork, and actually it was just that and some sides. Got a bunch of baked beans and coleslaw and stuff, but it was totally legit.
Good barbecue is super time intensive because
Yeah.
those dudes were probably up at like 2:00 in the morning
Yeah.
putting meat on the smoker
Right.
to bring you food at 3:00.
And you can't find it out here. There's just no good barbecue.
There's
If you want to talk about regional food.
I have found a couple of places that would be bad barbecue where I'm from.
Right.
But it's passable bad.
For the area, if you want it bad enough,
Yeah.
you'll go there.
Yeah, so the like
But I
that,
know what you mean.
that place in the boxcar down in Pacifica is okay. They
Guerrilla
have good days
barbecue.
and bad days. The Memphis Minis down in the Lower Haight, does
Yeah.
really good
Toronto.
meat, but their sauce is terrible.
Yeah.
So it's like you go good with the bad.
Yep.
I want to get on this mailing list and
I will hook
I
you
would
guys
like to
up.
subscribe to your mailing
I'll
list.
hook you guys up.
Delicious.
Yeah, that's always my stop when I go back to Tennessee. So I could get even fatter if I eat some barbecue out here. Anything else you've been testing, Mr. Shoemaker or Mr. Chan?
We're gonna start the scale tweeting,
The weighing.
the weighing in, the
Weighing
month
of the
weighing.
testeds.
So
Oh,
we have
man,
two.
I should get in on that.
We have two digital scales, one from Withings and one from Fitbit,
The Fitbit Aria.
and both can tweet weights. Bill
believe
has
so.
one, I have one, and we thought it would be appropriate. I mean, not just to see if it tweets accurately, but what the psychological effects are of tweeting your.
I was
weight
going to say, what do you think?
over
What
a month.
do you guys think the usefulness of public shame is
We
as
will find
a
out.
weight loss motivator?
We will find out.
Because I could use some of that.
Just talking about doing this has caused me to make smarter choices with food to the
You gotta
point that I've
start
lost
in a-
about
in a
10 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Start off high, and then
So you're
impress.
that's why you
Wait.
ate that meal yesterday. You're bulking up. Okay, that's good.
And then you lose it faster, too.
The unfortunate thing about the scales is there's no, like, you know how when you do the Wii Fit and you weigh in with the Wii Fit and it says, hey, how many pounds of clothes you're wearing? And you can choose between 0 and like 10. If you're wearing your parka and it's wintertime. There's no clothes options on these. So you have to make sure you consistently weigh in with the same clothes on.
Well, also, you need to do it like at the same time of day. And,
Yeah,
you should
right,
do it.
The
pre
way your
or
weight
post.
fluctuates. Well, you know what? If you see two weigh-ins, two weigh-in tweets, like 8 minutes apart from each other, and one is significantly lower in weight than the other,
High five.
then you'll know that Kraken was released.
I see.
High five.
I've been told. I think like first thing when you wake up, go urinate and then go weigh yourself. Wearing just your underwear.
I like to.
wear
What if
underwear?
you don't wear underwear to bed?
Whoa!
I don't want to know about.
wanna know
I don't
about
want to know about your personal habits.
Yeah.
You asked.
And you wash your sheets twice as frequently.
Yeah, every 3 or 4 weeks. Yeah, the sometimes you just want to weigh and see what you just did. Let's take some questions.
Emails.
Well, but we do the other one.
Email.
'Cause it's, we don't do emails. We do
Emails.
No.
Questions.
Boom. If you have a question for This Is Only Test, the email address is podcast@tested.com. Keep it short, under 45 seconds. Make sure it doesn't sound like you're recording on a train. And here is our first question. It comes from Brad in San Francisco.
Oh shit! Now I got to think of a question. How much do you guys know about televisions?
I like to watch television on occasion, but I don't watch
There's
ads.
a television box over there, which leads me to believe you've been testing TVs.
No, that's the TV from the old office that
Oh.
used to sit by the
Oh,
couch.
I remember that one. Man.
You remember when we used to have
Yeah.
an office and we worked in the same room?
Right. Okay.
I miss those days.
All right. So Amazon's going to start charging sales tax this weekend.
Yes.
In
This
California.
weekend?
Yep. The 15th.
Oh, no.
Yes.
So I'm
Saturday.
aiming to buy a television before then.
So you have 2 days from the time
yeah.
this airs.
So I'm thinking about, for whatever reason, I got interested in the idea of getting a plasma television.
I have
Oh,
a plasma
I
television.
have
you?
a plasma television as
You
well.
do too? And I
My
think
rec-
Gary does as well, right?
Here's my recommendation for a plasma television.
Uh-huh.
You do not strike me as a person who necessarily cares how thick the bezel is
No.
or minuscule
screen-
differences.
Image quality is paramount.
Buy one from 2 years ago before they had 3D.
Really?
Why is that?
I don't think you can get that anymore.
Yes, you absolutely can on
I don't
Amazon.
want to buy a used TV.
Not a
No,
used
no,
one.
not a used.
A new TV.
I'm not buying an old TV.
You,
I don't want to worry about
So-
lapsing support
No,
or
no, no, there is no
anything
lapsing
like that.
support.
I'm not buying an old TV. I appreciate the advice.
Wow, you're gonna get one with apps and 3D and pay the full
Well,
price.
I don't have to use that stuff.
Oh my,
Well,
They're so cheap compared to
oh
LCDs.
my
though.
god,
That's the point.
The 55 inch that I'm looking at is under $1,300 on Amazon, no tax, no shipping.
in
So who
order
makes
to
it?
get,
Panasonic.
you
yeah.
can get one that without the 3D for $1,000.
it's probably the same.
But
panel.
looking at
It's
the
the
reviews,
same
looking at the
panel.
reviews year over year, they have improved since then.
Because more people have discovered the TV.
Eh.
the point that Brad's making is you can get. I think what Norm's trying to say is you can get the lower model without the apps and without the 3D nonsense.
Oh, right.
You can get the same screen without paying
same
for shit
panel.
you're never going to use. Although since you play games, you might actually use 3D.
Oh, dude. Well, the
occasionally.
one I'm looking at has like built-in DNLA streaming and a
You're never
Netflix
gonna
app
use
and
that.
stuff like that. I might
Never.
I'll try it.
Netflix
Never
app
gonna
is
use
shit.
it.
Whatever.
I have a Panasonic TV.
All right.
The Netflix app is real bad.
Fine, whatever. Whatever. I'm not worried about that stuff.
Yeah, you will not go wrong if you buy.
I have always avoided plasma for, like
burn-in is not a thing.
all the kind of urban legend apocrypha
So-
about plasmas has always scared me away.
I will tell you what happened one time in a situation that caused a great deal of marital stress in my household. When one member of the household left the TV on for like 8 hours
Uh-oh.
on the Xbox when she or he went out of the house
Okay.
and then came back and realized, oh shit, I left that Netflix app on or HBO Go or something and turned it off and switched to another channel, and then the HBO Go shit was still in the UI was still up there.
But how long did it last? That's my question.
When we turned it off and turned it back on, the next time it was gone.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I know that permanent burn-in is no longer a problem,
is
but
not a
but image
problem.
retention still is, and that kind of spooks me.
you,
But there's no consensus online about how much that stuff actually matters.
I haven't like even after that. It's like I fucking went over it with a fine tooth comb
Yeah.
because perhaps one person was lording it over the other person.
I see.
And made mistakes. We'll all admit that now. But yeah, it's not something I'm concerned
Well,
about.
it's
I
just-
didn't do any of the bullshit burn-in stuff that the people on the home.
Oh, you didn't
AV forum
break it in for 100
didn't
hours
do
on the
any of that
slideshow or
stuff.
whatever?
Nope.
Did you do that?
I did.
You did?
I played a DVD, Blu-ray over
Yeah.
and over again.
Is that what it is?
Well,
There's
well,
some
you-
100-hour
you
like
can.
break-in process.
I set it on. There's channels without the watermarks.
Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
I didn't
it's-
do any of that stuff.
It's crazy that like you look at the relative prices of LCDs,
Well, and to-
especially LED LCDs,
And to get a
at the same sizes.
TV that's going to give you comparable kind of blacks.
You can't.
Well, you can because they can do the selective backlight stuff.
But it's still it's still not as good, and B, you get
That's
other
the thing.
uniformity
Well,
problems
also
across
check
the screen.
power consumption.
That's
Yeah.
one of the downsides. In fact, like I've seen reviews that broke it down to here's how much you'll spend extra a year paying for electricity on this thing, but it's usually like $30 to $40 in a year.
yeah,
They're heavier. They have issues with glare if you have a more well lit room with
Yeah.
windows and stuff. But mainly for me, it was games and what the
it's been fantastic.
okay.
Yeah,
Because I
highly
mean,
recommend.
like
Make sure you get one with a lot of inputs. The one thing I will say about the Panasonics that's bad is that they don't. If you run your HDMI from like an Xbox or a PS3 or something, and then run the optical pass through back to a receiver, rather than running HDMI through the receiver and pulling that sound out that way, the optical pass through, at least on the year model that I have, which is 2010, I think, doesn't do 5.1. It only does 2.0.
oh, it mixes it down.
mixes it down. Which is real dumb.
I'm gonna sound like a real dinosaur here, but I use a stereo only
Okay, you're good then.
receiver.
Rock and roll.
You know, you should get
But
it.
you know what's crazy is the TV I'm looking at does not have any analog audio outs. It only has an optical cable out. Toslink for audio out
Why do you audio out of your TV?
to run it into my receiver.
Yeah, because he doesn't have an HDMI receiver.
Like I
No,
just
you
run.
don't have a receiver.
No, I have a receiver.
You have an HDMI receiver?
No, it doesn't have video inputs. It is literally a
It's a-
two-channel
it's a
stereo
receiver.
receiver
Wow.
Yeah, so
to power the two floor
And you don't have
speakers, the
Toslink out of
large,
the
nice
TV.
floor speakers that I have.
you can still run the analog cables from the consoles into the receiver.
Mm,
You have to get that little, like on the Xbox, it has an
I know,
HDMI
it's a
plug
huge-
built
that-
in. You have to
oh,
have that.
it's
You
such
have to find that.
and then I have to
dongle.
change inputs on the receiver all the time.
Then
That's
you
such
buy a
pain in
Harmony
the ass.
remote, and that you just
That's
works itself
bullshit.
out.
I'm not doing that.
Looking
Harmony
at getting
Remote's real
a
good.
really good speaker bar.
How can the
Speaker bar is not going to be anywhere near as loud as
how
his two
does a
giant
television
speakers.
not have analog audio out?
It's the future.
That's fucking stupid.
We've moved beyond analog.
I was looking at Monoprice. I don't know how much you guys know about this stuff, but they sell like a $20 box.
Yeah.
It's powered. You have to plug it into the wall,
Yep.
but it will take either digital coax or Toslink optical
Yep.
and convert it to two-channel RCA.
That'll do exactly what it says
is that
it does.
is that it's not going to introduce lag into the sound? Is it,
it
just
might
going to work?
introduce lag into the
Introduce
sound.
lag into the sound.
Well, I mean, I'm
If you're playing Rock Band Blitz,
yeah,
you're going to have problems.
playing
You'll have to
rhythm
do the
games
sync.
on this thing.
You know, I can't get the calibration thing ever to work on Rock Band games.
Really?
No, I'm incapable of
It's,
doing it.
it's a psychological thing too.
I think I anticipate, so I get
Yeah.
ahead of where it's going to be.
Oh, yeah.
Overcompensate. Yeah.
And it always
that's a
fails.
shame.
I'm real. Gina has to do it. I'm
Mm.
real bad at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would buy that TV in a heartbeat. It's a great TV.
Even with the audio thing.
Yeah.
All right.
And then I would buy a receiver to go with the TV because you can use the receiver with
Receiver's
your
fine.
speakers.
Nothing wrong with that receiver.
Put two channels. dude.
Why?
We're in a.
I'm in
we're
an apartment.
multiple channel future.
A, where am I going to put more speakers? And B, what am I going to tell my neighbors?
You put him right up next to the sofa. On
I
either
live
side.
under my landlord. He is old.
Well, then he probably has hearing problems.
My
so you're
living
cool.
room is under his bedroom. He told me that.
Oh, that's probably a mistake.
Yeah.
Okay, so just get a really nice pair of headphones. Call it a day. You know what we didn't talk about was Big Picture, which is out.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I haven't gotten to
Steam
use
Big
that yet. Have you?
Yes,
Is it good?
it's a
We
big
s-
picture. It's really
Put
good.
a quick
Okay.
look up on the site.
Yeah, there's a quick
Oh.
look up on Tested.
Okay.
You're welcome to watch it there. It's,
Well,
it's
okay.
quality content.
Or I might just go home and use it.
Yeah, you could do that too.
Okay.
You can use your controller. It works really well.
So
Everything that works in Steam works in Big Picture.
if you're at the Windows desktop and you have regular Steam running,
Yes.
You
Is
just
there-
hit the home button.
You go to beta.
Well, first of all, you have to be opted into the beta. And up to
no,
the
no,
top
no.
of the
I'm
microphone.
Big
So after-
Picture's
after
already
that,
installed
sure.
and set up.
Hit the home button on your Xbox controller.
You mean the guide button?
Guide button.
The big fat X.
Yep. And
That's it?
It will launch Big Picture.
It detects that.
Oh, really? From the
Okay,
from the
that is the key piece of the
Steam.
puzzle I wasn't sure about.
I didn't know that.
Valve, I could kiss you. That's really smart.
Wow.
Because the problem is, for people like me who have the computer in one room and the TV in the other,
That's what I have.
you have
yeah.
to go
Run
in
back and forth.
you have to go in the office or wherever the computer is and
Deploy.
hit change output to TV, but then you can't
Windows P.
So my concern was just to put it into big picture mode, you'd still have to use the mouse and keyboard to hit the last button, like the last step of the puzzle to turn that on.
Only problem is when Steam loses focus, when it's not on Steam.
That only happened to me here when we were doing it on a laptop and had a bunch of video capture stuff plugged in. I didn't have problems with that at home. at
Okay.
all.
So generally controller only should be fine.
And once you install the game, once you run the game the first time, you won't have to do all that direct stuff.
That's
which
the
is
other
problem.
the other problem I've had is that if the UAC kicks in and you need to click
Right,
yes, you have to run back in there and change the input again.
You
And
could
like it's
Just turn the UAC down so it doesn't bother you.
Should I do that?
That's
Can
what I
you
did.
can you whitelist specific applications?
No.
Oh, that's a shame.
But just turn the UAC down because you're
Okay.
going to click OK to everything that pops up anyway. So why should you let it bother you?
Yeah. All right.
Move along.
All right.
Nothing to see here.
Fair enough.
And I think that'll do it for us this week. We will take more questions next week, I promise. It's podcast@tested.com. Keep it short, under 45 seconds. Did we answer your question, Brad? Do you have hometown trivia?
About the TV?
Where's your hometown trivia? I usually summarily dismiss questions without hometown trivia.
I don't really want to out my hometown.
Is there a festival?
There is.
Is it about some sort of tree
I'm not
or
gonna-
fruit?
I'm not going to say.
Is it a stone fruit or is it a apple?
We're done here.
We'll be back next week with another episode of
I do
This
love Apple products.
Is
Thank you.
Only a Test. Brad, iPhone Shoemaker, thanks for coming by and seeing
you.
us. Norman Chan, always a pleasure. We have Still Untitled on Tuesday, every Tuesday. We're still soliciting questions for Adam. So we're going to do a Q&A show at some point in the future. Send your questions to podcast@tested.com with Still Untitled in the subject line. Stay tuned for fake outtakes. Today's outro comes from Eng Paul, who I assume is some sort of chemical engineer. Hi there, I didn't see you.
Tested.
This bag is just full of asses. There's no heads. It's little minifig asses.
Tested.
That's an oldie.
I think that was an old one. Yeah, that was from.
That's from Brick.
Oh, Bricked.
That's from Brick. Where'd Brad go?
I think he had to go to the bathroom.
Does he not know that the podcast continues, resumes, post
Nothing stops the podcast.
outro?
I
The
said-
outro is just an intro.
I even
For a
told him,
different segment.
stay tuned for fake outtakes.
I don't think he was listening.
He was ready to put his headphones off and not hear about the minifig asses.
Yeah.
I kind of think that I might have grabbed one from an old page on the raw outro song file
Might have been it.
thing. Let's see. No, oh yeah, I'm on page 5. This is from February, so that explains
Wow.
why. I did it in a hurry and our internet's bad. Internet's bad. That's the excuse. I used Airbnb for the first time today. Well, not the first time, but
You booked something,
something.
on Airbnb for the first time today.
yeah, it's an interesting experience.
I think it's a wonderful, wonderful service. But your experience may vary depending, and just like booking hotels, you should book early. A lot of times, unlike hotels, the person renting out the room. So I'll explain what Airbnb is.
Yeah.
It's a service for people to rent their and sublet their housing to other people, travelers,
Person to person,
person to person, with a small intermediate cost that goes to Airbnb, the service. And
a percentage.
just like, any type of hotel service, you can search maps, search different cities. It's like Craigslist, but with photos and verifications and review system feedback.
It's hooked into Facebook and stuff like that, so you can see if it's a real person.
So we use it when we went to Comic-Con to book a condo, which is great. Amazing price, cheaper than the hotel.
Like 3 blocks from the convention center.
And perfect. I used one to book something for Philly, but that was unfortunately canceled because the apartment was flooded and it turned into a hassle. So you do
Did you
not
end up
get
in a hotel, or
I had to end up in a hotel.
did you get your money back?
I did get my money back.
Okay.
So you do have to go, deal with the person directly. The Airbnb is basically an escrow. They will hold the money and they won't pay the person, but they will charge your credit card immediately. When you book something, we're talking about Airbnb service. It's great if you're traveling by yourself. Great if you're traveling as a big group.
Well, it's nice if you don't want to stay in a hotel, so you can have like breakfast in a refrigerator and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like getting a suite.
Yeah, we had actually attempted to use them to find our E3 house, not housing where we were going to sleep, but
yeah.
where we were going to shoot stuff at E3 this year.
Oh, you mean that wonderful venue
But-
wasn't on Airbnb?
No, it certainly wasn't.
What review would you give
that?
that?
Was a Craigslist special.
Okay.
Wow.
I liked the fluffy asbestos in the bathroom in that place.
0 stars an option on this scale.
0 stars is an option.
Airbnb seemed great right up until every time in the process when we got to the part where we were like, "Hey, we want to shoot like hours and hours of video in your house every night. Is that cool?"
What
And
do
they're
people
like,
say?
no.
And then conversations
Porn.
seemed to stop.
San
You know,
Fernando
some
Valley?
people they have 2 apartments or something. They use Airbnb like for their vacation homes, rent it out. And I know people who've had gotten in trouble, like who have rent controlled places, and they just Airbnb their because they leave it open. They'll say, okay, I'll vacate my house and I'll find a friend's house to live in, but charge $200 a night in the city to rent, and 3 nights a month they'll pay my rent or something.
Yeah.
Huh.
But yeah, if you're in rent control, you can really get in trouble with that because most
yeah.
rental places won't let you sublet.
Absolutely.
What else did you do in Philly, Norm?
I went to the top of City Hall. It's a nice big building. Stood under William Penn. Had some great coffee. Had Philly cheesesteak at Jim's on South, which was another Widow recommendation.
Okay.
Cheese Whiz, I did not realize, is not the Cheese Whiz that comes out of an aerosol spray bottle. I thought that Philly cheesesteaks, when they say get Cheese Whiz, you put the meat inside and you kind of spray cheese on top. Nope. They take the bun and it's Cheese Whiz from a big can.
It's like ladled in,
Spoon,
right?
Ladle, and
Yeah.
then just
Yeah.
dump it on
Yeah.
with like a mixing, spoon or something, and just slather it, and then the meat gets onto the runny cheese, and the meat juices and cheese juices mix and soak into the bread, and that's what makes it awesome.
So you recommend the Cheese Whiz?
Absolutely.
I'm going to tell you a secret about the Philly cheesesteak with the Cheese Whiz, is that you don't ever want to take that back with you. You want to consume it there
no,
or leave
absolutely
it
comes on
behind.
there. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because
That's-
it
that
congeals.
seems self-evident.
It turns into like a Velveeta block of meat
you
and
don't
cheese.
want congeal. You want the
Not good.
juices to be perfect.
Not good.
Did you try to fly with that?
No. I like ate a giant one. I was like, we're gonna go out drinking really hard tonight, so I'm gonna get another one to bring back, and I'll have it at the hotel room. I'll be really super smart. And then I brought it. Was
I bet
super
that, I bet that
gross.
sandwich has a half-life of like 10 minutes.
I think by the time it cools half from the starting temperature to room temperature, it's done.
Ugh.
I also had a burger at a place called Village Whiskey.
Do they sell whiskey?
They do have a lot of whiskey. It was a
Are you looking at Yelp
$25
reviews?
burger. I'm looking for
That's
the
It's an
menu.
expensive burger.
It was an expensive burger. Philly food wasn't bad.
Philly's a good eating city, I think.
Although, Anthony Bourdain's never been there.
Really?
The Whiskey King Burger, maple bourbon glaze, Cipollini,
CIP,
Pollini,
like a salted meat?
I guess so. Rogue blue cheese and applewood bacon and foie gras.
That would be illegal in
Delicious.
California.
It was incredible.
Brad, what would you like to talk about?
Uh,
You want to talk about games? You talk about games a lot.
yeah, we do. Man, you
Big
guys,
live shows tomorrow.
you guys have a lot of air to fill, don't you? Yeah, tune in on our website.
Giantbomb.com.
Stuff will happen. You guys won't be there.
What are the big
I'll be there.
plans?
I'll
oh
be
yeah,
there.
that's right. You'll be
Hey.
there.
Joey will be there.
You'll be there for a little bit.
Yeah.
I booked.
One of you loves us.
Joey loves you too. He's a
That's
person.
true.
Counts-
He
there's two
may
of
also
us.
be there actually.
I booked this thing a long time ago. I'm sorry. I'm really bummed.
I seem to remember asking you a longer time ago.
I booked this in. I can tell you when I booked it because it was a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
Hi.
Do you want to talk about the cone?
Yeah. Have you gotten yours? Oh no.
No,
You're
did
part
you
of the
see what
delay,
happened?
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I went ahead and just
Well,
ordered another one.
I guess it's part of a larger conversation that I guess was inevitable that's taking place around Kickstarter now that people are realizing they're really impatient and they want what they paid for as soon as they want it.
Yes.
And
We
they're
talked
like-
about this a little
And
bit.
when
Oh,
things
is it-
go,
have you guys-
It's
when-
okay though.
Like there are already
Runaway-
articles
Oh yeah,
popping
runaway
up.
successes.
popping up going like, what happens when nobody in Kickstarter is accountable for like?
Oh yeah,
come on.
Kickstarter addressed that. Basically, they're
Yeah.
not accountable.
Yeah.
It's the whoever posted the project up.
Right.
If they did not account for scaling, how many units they'd have to produce,
Right.
all the promises they had made, don't use it as a pre-order.
Yeah, well,
if you cannot,
yeah, like largely,
scale.
largely. Well, you're directing that at the vendor.
I backed this on May 22nd.
The cone.
No, the
No.
conference.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So
I definitely didn't ask you that early.
no, you did not.
but I
I'm
think
not a
you could-
bad person.
You could level that criticism at people who back projects on Kickstarter as
Oh
well.
yeah. Buyer beware.
Because a lot of people,
Supporter beware.
I'm sure most if not all of those products will eventually be fulfilled. But like don't go on there and treat it like it's Amazon, like it's a storefront, and you're just
Yeah.
buying a product that is going to be shipped to you. It's
No,
like,
you're supporting the
like this is like
ambitions.
seed money to get this thing off the ground, and like if they hit bumps along the way, like that's what happens.
And it's you putting money in with no expectation or really legal ramifications if something goes wrong. So this all happened because a couple of kind of high profile projects have had delays.
It's like the Pebble.
The Pebble was one of them. That the big iPhone dock, the Evolution, was a little bit delayed. I think that's
and also is now a big fucking paperweight.
a giant
now
huge
that
paperweight.
dock connector is useless.
Oops. The Keith Gerke, who does the Able Brewing, released the Cone, and wow. So you get push notifications from iMessage even when it's turned off now. Awesome.
Did that go on the stream?
That just went on the stream.
Awesome.
Cut that out.
No, you should leave that in
I'll
there.
leave it in since we talked about it now because it won't make any sense otherwise. So yeah, I mean the thing that I think people have been complaining, people get self-righteously indignant on the internet. I assumed when you're talking about a service like Kickstarter that is to help people kickstart manufacturing and do things that they wouldn't otherwise be able to do, that everybody understood you're taking a chance here.
Yeah.
People apparently are dumb, or in fairness, I went through and funded something or supported something the other day, and I paid real close attention to what the fine print says, and they don't really make it super clear that you're taking a gamble when you're in the giving money phase of this process.
You would hope it was conceptually self-evident, but maybe not.
People don't ever underestimate the stupidity of people who are trying to buy something.
Yeah.
Entitlement.
Yeah.
Like
So
the cone was the first thing I'd ever backed on Kickstarter, and like I actually
you talked about it. We talked about it a lot.
I'd asked around. You met the guy, and I asked you. I was like, "This guy seemed like an upstanding dude," and you were like, "Yeah, he's super honest and cool."
Yeah.
And I was like, "All right, I'll give him money."
I mean,
give
so
him $125,
So his situation is he had one product that was very close to finished.
which was the actual cone,
The actual metal filter itself.
Yeah, which is shipping now.
You can buy one today. I bought one and it was
you?
there 2 days later.
That's right. It's on his
Yeah, it's
site,
on his
but,
site.
and those are shipping to people who just wanted that. They're already getting.
He
them.
fulfilled all the pre-orders in August for
Yeah,
that. All the
okay.
Kickstarters.
Yeah.
The problem is that he also wanted to sell a ceramic brewing system to
More,
go with it.
it's more of like an end-to-end brewing system.
Yeah,
Kind
so
of replace the Chemex.
Because I don't have
Cone is
I don't have a
made for the
Chemex or anything like that to put a cone in.
Exactly.
Why'd you buy the cone?
Because no,
Because
I,
he's buying
I
the
bought
brewing
the whole
system.
thing,
Okay.
which
Yeah.
is why I don't have one yet.
So
So because the ceramic, he was not happy with the
he's
build
gone through a bunch of
quality
iterations on the ceramic.
on the ceramic stuff that he was getting back.
The design changed from the time he launched the Kickstarter to when it was filled, it was finished. He did initial runs of that, didn't like the way it turned out, did it again, did it again, did it again. And pottery is a kind of slow process. It takes a while to do. So he's going to miss the September deadline that he had initially set for that.
right.
It's going to probably push him to December to fulfill them all. And unfortunately, because of the way Kickstarter works, you can't survey twice. So he can't send out a survey to Brad and me, who both backed the same thing. I bought the $125 one too, and say, hey, what's your address? We want to send you the cone part now and send you the other one later. People were really upset, and I can kind of see that because it's a little that's weird that he can't run the survey twice to collect information. It's a Kickstarter limitation.
Wait, why can't, didn't you give them your address? Period.
No, the way Kickstarter works is when they're ready to fulfill it, then they reach out to you with a survey and say, hey, where do you live? What size T-shirt do you want? Whatever it happens to be, and they collect that information then. He couldn't collect it now and then collect it
'Cause it would
again 3
technically
months
be
from
fulfilled.
later
Yeah.
because it'll be technically fulfilled.
Yeah.
So he has to do it all at once.
Yeah.
Well, he actually offered another option.
So then he offered another option, which I thought was pretty reasonable, and people were pissed off. But he's giving $35 off the price of the cone, which I'm sure it means he's breaking flat even on the cones. If you want to get the cone early, so you can buy one and have two, give the other one to a friend or something, I assume. I did that because I wanted to get one in for Quick Look. We'll shoot a Quick Look next week.
$35 off on the cone.
$35 off of the $50 cone or $60 off of the retail price. So you're essentially getting it for a little bit more than his cost would be my guess.
Wait, so
with
anyone
shipping.
can buy that?
No, you have
No,
to.
that's if you
it's for
backed and
Kickstarter
are
backer.
not getting your product
Yeah.
yet.
So you have to somehow prove that you backed it.
There is a mechanism that I don't want to get into on the air, but yes, it was very straightforward.
But like I feel like this is, if not the textbook case, at least a pretty good example of like how you can handle this if you run into snags
yeah,
and aren't going to be able to deliver on time. Like he's been sending out updates saying, "Hey, here's exactly," like he's down to details on what he didn't like about the ceramics. Like,
Yeah.
oh, it was like the the way the spout was shaped, the coffee was like dripping down the side when you poured it and stuff like
Kickstarter
that.
encourages.
And like if they're if they're fully
communicate, yeah.
if they're fully open and transparent about what's going on,
The reason he's not
can't
sending
fault
it
him
out
too much.
The reason he's not making them is because he doesn't think they're good enough.
they're not up to standard,
Right.
which is I mean, you could get into a situation with like with that sandal company where they started shipping units into retail channels before they fulfilled any of their Kickstarter
That's
orders.
bad.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty reprehensible.
Right. But he's
if
not
it's-
selling pottery elsewhere.
Right.
You can't get it anywhere
But
else.
if it's just a case of these companies or these people or whatever they are, just wanting to ship a good product and having to take longer to do that, you kind of have to expect that to be part of the process.
That's kind of the way I feel too. I think Kickstarter could do a better job communicating it. I think that when you like the language that they use on backer rewards and stuff like that isn't exactly clear, and it could definitely be better.
I saw, I don't think it was like a blog post. I think it was maybe just on Twitter, but somebody was even dipping their toe in on the video game Kickstarter stuff the other day of just like sort of testing the waters of like, why haven't any of these games come out yet? Like they weren't getting incensed about it yet.
Well, but I mean,
Somebody started asking the question, and
Yeah.
it's like Double Fine, which was the defining video game Kickstarter project, is still less than a year old. You know, it's like how long do you think it takes to make a video game?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you're looking at minimum of 18 months to make bad games a
Yeah.
lot of times.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you look at something like Planetary Annihilation, that's a pretty ambitious big
Yeah.
project.
Especially the more money they pull in, the
Yeah.
more stuff
It's
they keep
also
adding to it.
it's weird for development because when you have a game, like the animated, not animated GIF one, but the pixel art game, like and they're encouraged to like release artwork and stuff, right? Then that's completely different experience than when you're going to buy the game at the end, like, and you get all the surprises if you've seen all the characters and seen all the art.
Well, the Double Fine, because I supported the Double Fine adventure game, the stuff that they're showing in those trailers, I stopped watching because even though they blur out a lot of the stuff, I kind of want to go into that cold.
We talked about that exact thing on our podcast, and I'm totally with you. Like that stuff seems better consumed after you've played through the game,
Yeah.
and you were surprised by everything in it.
Yeah, and you can't
then-
have
and
like a status bar, like, oh, the game is 35% done.
Right.
Doesn't work
Well,
that way.
but by nature of the Kickstarter and because people have bought into it and it's been up for what, 6 months now, probably? I
The
can't
Double
remember.
Fine?
Yeah, when
it was
did
like very wasn't that tail
April
end
or
tail
something?
end of wait, was it?
Did we
that?
still work in the same office then?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
So it was March. It had to be
It
before
was,
March.
I want to say it was tail end of last year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh no, you're right. It was around Dice, so that was like February.
Yeah, February,
You're
March.
right. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we have like they have to keep trickling stuff out. A, because they said they were going to, but B, because they want to keep people feeling good about
Right.
spending that money. But I don't. That's not the experience I want. I want to. I want to go into that game knowing nothing about it and either have fun or not, and then go back and watch the other stuff and see what went right or what went wrong
Yep.
at the end of the
Yeah,
at the end of the trip.
The ones where like part of the backing incentives are like access to developer forums where you can tell us what you want in the game, or like they're like straight up taking suggestions from backers about what to
That
put
always
in the
really
game.
scares me.
Yeah, it's like the people who are
It's
going
like
to
game
consume the
development.
game probably are not going to make the best decisions
Naval
about what
warfare
to put in the
though.
game.
I'm down with naval
Yeah?
planets, with water planets.
Okay.
Like I was
Sure.
glad we hit that stretch goal.
That game looks awesome. I really hope that. Did it close? Are they done?
If it hasn't closed,
They were like a few hours away.
Yeah, it's yesterday.
I think they had hit their
Final mile.
I think they had hit their second to last stretch goal. Is that right? Like they were coming up on the last one.
Yeah, the last one is orchestral score,
Oh wait,
which I don't think they're going to hit.
no, I think it was before that. It was some pretty significant.
42
feature.
hours to go. Yeah. So the second to last is an orchestral score at $2 million.
What's the 1.8?
1.8 is going to hit for sure because it's 1.77 now.
Oh, okay. But what is 1.8?
I don't see it on the page.
Okay, it was something that would actually.
Is it like a game thing?
Yeah, it would really affect the quality of the game. I can't remember what it was.
Oh, cool. I'm super like those guys of all the dudes to get Galactic War is the thing.
Yes,
So it's the
it's like a persistent
kind of persistent multiplayer.
territory grab kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's local too, which is
Expand?
exciting. So you can only play with your friends. You
Exploit?
don't have to compete against people who are
I think this is more
Explore?
real time.
competitive. I want a real.
In real
I want a
time?
real
I
time
believe
4X
this is-
game.
It's
Well,
called Sins of the Solar Empire.
yeah, Sins is kind of like that.
It takes too long.
You've seen this game, right?
Not this one.
Planetary Annihilation. I think.
Oh,
it's,
yeah. It's,
I think
it's the
they're-
old
I mean,
gas-powered game.
Yeah, the name straight up
yeah.
implies they're going for a
Yeah.
total annihilation style of zillions of robots and stuff. But I love any game that uses the Animal Crossing like little like curvature and horizon
Yeah.
mechanic. Like
You mean Spore?
Oh, there were
Yeah.
games before then that you did
I
that
know.
too.
Yeah,
I know. I'm looking forward.
that looks awesome.
But I mean, it's gonna be 2 years before we see that, unless
Yeah.
they've been working on it in secret and
Right.
funding it out of pocket or something. We
Right.
just don't know it. And I'm fine. I'm fine with them taking time to make that right. It's
Yeah.
same thing for the pot, for the
Yeah.
Able pot, or for the Pebble, which I didn't pre-order because I think phone watches are kind of silly. But whatever. That's cool too. So I guess that'll do it for us, unless we have anything else pending. I'm heading to XOXO this weekend, so I will see you guys there. Big live show on Friday.
Yeah, tomorrow.
So if you haven't watched, if you
there.
don't see that, it'll be cool.
There will be.
Is there what's
I
shenanigans?
don't
Can you
know
give
if
us
I
a
should-
teaser?
I don't know if I should say what there will be.
I heard that something might be broken.
Well, there won't be any liquid nitrogen, thanks.
Sorry,
But
I don't think I could bring liquid nitrogen into your building.
Yeah, you're probably right.
They'd probably
Well, we weren't going
complain.
to tell anybody, so
Dude, you can't go into a doer is not something you can hide.
always better to ask forgiveness than permission.
We will come and bring liquid nitrogen some Friday if
Okay,
you want.
or we'll go outside.
Yeah, we can do dumb shit in the yard.
There will be bows and arrows, and there will be
You can shoot bows and arrows in the office.
there will be nugs, and there will be.
There's a harmonics presence. Is that what it was?
That's not
nugs?
necessarily
Okay.
what I'm implying.
Okay.
but maybe
I like nugs. Wait, no, I don't.
Some stuff will happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any donuts consumed?
Maybe.
That couch has never been the same, by the way.
We're also going to be in New York the week of September 24th. So if there are cool things in New York that you'd like us to see, cool projects, cool maker spaces, let us know.
Yeah, we've gotten good suggestions. There's a thread in the forums, so post in the thread in the forums.
Can you guys go test throwing rocks at that Apple store and see what happens?
I don't want them to hurt me. I don't want to get blacklisted.
How reinforced do you think that glass is?
Pretty reinforced.
Yeah.
I bet you could hit it with a car,
Wow.
a small car,
Huh.
Prius.
Huh.
You go.
That would just bounce off anyway.
It probably has concrete poles all around the edge of the plaza. We should go see that Apple store. I've never seen it before. I'm interested.
That's cool. It's
You
neat.
seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nintendo event on
Yes,
Thursday.
actually
also.
today.
Today,
As
yeah.
you're listening to this. In fact, probably before you listen to this.
Yeah. This is the Wii U event,
It's
right?
it'll almost surely be the date and price. It has to be the date and price.
And that'll be this holiday.
That's all there
sometime-
is. Yeah, it's
sometime before
well, rumor is
Thanksgiving.
mid November.
Any
That
any
makes sense.
predictions in the past?
On the price.
Yeah.
I
What did they launch? The Wii was
my
250?
249.
249.
My gut says 299. A lot of people say 249. I think.
I think it's hard to launch more expensive than the last generation.
Yeah, but Nintendo really likes making money on their hardware.
That's true.
Really likes it a lot.
I mean, what's in that?
But you know what?
thing,
I
though?
never use it.
Yeah.
It's going to sit in my drawer.
Well,
It's
that's
anti-Amazon.
exactly what they're counting on, because if they sell hardware at a loss and then nobody ever uses it to buy new software with, then they are fucked.
Make good hardware.
Have you played more? I got to spend a little bit of time with the Wii U stuff at PAX. But did you what's the vibe?
We haven't played it since
E3?
E3.
Okay.
I mean,
Like the stuff that they had at PAX was just the E3 demos.
I think
on
so,
a-
yeah.
On the there's
just-
nobody playing.
they really didn't bring a tentpole to E3. You know,
Yeah.
Like, where was the one game to really anchor that system? Like, Nintendo Land ain't it. I don't
think
even
they
know what
thought
that
New
is.
Super Mario Brothers was it, but
They just put that out on the 3DS.
No, I know.
Like, then that's going to be the fourth one of those. You know, it's like, come on, you need something better than that. I don't know. Like,
HD Galaxy.
I think it looks neat conceptually. Like, they could do some cool stuff with it. Like, is it going to grab the grandmas and 6-year-olds?
No.
Like the Wii did.
that was
Hell
a
no.
once
Like,
in
hell
a
no.
lifetime thing.
There's no way. Like,
Steven
you know,
Spielberg isn't going to go
motion,
there.
like motion, is a universal language. You know, like a kind of a half-assed iPad without multi-touch.
Well,
Not so much.
Well, and the thing about the tablet is it's going to be really there's going to be a lot of developer nightmares, like nightmare games built to use that tablet.
Yeah.
Because like some of those demos that we saw at E3, you look down at this, you look up, you look down, you look up, and you just can't do that.
Yeah.
Like it took a long time for them to figure out how people can use the DS.
Yeah, you're right. And
it's the
somebody
same
will
kind
do
of
it. Like
thing.
the Nintendo, like they've done since the N64. Like Nintendo is usually the only one that fully exploits their weird, quirky hardware design. They'll come along and sprinkle their pixie dust on there, and like magic will come out of it.
I want a 3-prong controller again.
Yeah,
Not really, but
I
think
don't
it
know
was-
about
I
that.
liked that.
I don't know about that.
Okay, see you guys next week.